Play.
Hello, everyone.
Spaceship!
And welcome to the Season 5 DVD commentary of Red vs. Blue.
Season 5, yay!
My name is Sarge. I play Matt Hullum.
Well, those dumb jokes never get old.
What's that? How dare you? We've never made that
My
joke
name is-
before.
You know what
Wrong
never gets
person.
old is the random commentary of everybody just shouting crap for 2 hours. That never gets old. Let's start
true.
that trend again
That's
right
all
now.
the commentary is.
I was told by Gavino that he does not like that. Likes it better when we actually talk about the.
So it took you exactly 5 seconds to work in the Gavino plug. How much are you making every time you say his name? That's what I want to know.
He's my new boyfriend.
Apparently.
Who, Vagino?
Yeah.
This wonderful new opening sequence was made by none other
Don't ever intern here.
than Mr. Nathan Zellner, the
Yay.
voice of Andy the Bomb.
Good job, man.
Matt did a lot of it too, though.
Matt did shit. Nathan
Nathan?
Zellman production.
All I did was hover around Nathan and tell him what he was doing wrong.
Matt managed the
Something
process.
I've been hoping to do for my entire life. Tell other people what they're doing wrong.
Yeah, Matt actually convinced Nathan that he made the game Halo. That's what Matt
That's
told
right.
Nathan.
It's crazy.
And you guys, Jeff, you guys did these. These are a bunch of just random shots from other action sequences in all the other seasons, correct?
No, they stuff from season 4, like I guess like reverse shots from stuff that was in season 4, which we couldn't use the actual video from season 4 because it wasn't in HD.
Right.
So we had to go back and refilm it.
But I think it was fun to go back and refilm this stuff because this
It
is
was.
stuff that was in the show, but you didn't see it because it's from another perspective, from a different camera angle.
Sure, it was a lot of fun to the people that didn't film it.
When I watched it later after when I was managing Jeff and telling him what to film but not doing the work myself, it was a lot of fun.
And some of it was from season or from Out of Mind, right?
None of that was from Out of Mind.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Nice try though.
Yeah.
This is Red versus Blue. I don't know if you're familiar with
I
that.
don't know if you meant Out of Mind is a Red versus
Who
Blue
are these
production.
characters? I actually sound like Doc when I said that.
Way to
What
kill
a
it, Matt.
coincidence.
Wow.
We're 2 minutes in, and this is how well it's going.
This is the starting here though is that idea of what we spent most of our season doing, which was avoiding shooting the place where the ship is at all possible costs.
Yeah.
Where, like here we put church around the corner from where the ship was supposed to be, and we always carefully framed around that part of the canyon.
And here's an example of 78 episodes in, we were still finding new ways and new little tricks with the game to exploit. Like when Caboose drops here in a second, we actually had quit game, and it makes him fall a certain way, and that's something we had never done until just now.
And there he fell there, and actually we cut a few frames of that out because when he quits the game, that character, he glows gold for a second.
Yeah, for like 5 frames.
Yeah, about 5 frames. And if he has no shields on, he glows a little less time than if he had full shields on. And then what we do is we just cut out those frames. So if you go back and actually play that frame by frame, you will see that there's a little bit of a jump there, but it's a jump that takes place right as he's falling down.
But it's one of those little things we'd never noticed before. We did it for the first time in 78. I think we did it 3 or 4 more times in the season as well.
Yeah, well, we had the continuing thing with Caboose of the story when he comes out and he's got this. Yeah, and but the quit thing is also there is that there's certain things that when you do them in the game, they will bring a message up on screen. Quitting the game is one of them. Killing a character and taking the lead or tying the lead is one of them. So every time we kill a character, it's always this very careful thing that we have to make sure who has the lead, who doesn't have the lead, what happens if we kill this character, what's going to happen to the score at that point.
Most of the time, we don't pay attention until after the fact, and we get the warning on the screen, and we have to reshoot it.
Exactly.
Which is weird. I think in episode 98, is it the Big Tucker battle episode where we kill all the Wyoming?
99.
99, we actually had something come up that we've never done before. We actually killed 25 people and ended a game in the middle of filming.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think you were there for that. It was me and Matt.
No, I was out of town when you guys shot 99.
Yeah.
I blame Jeff.
I'll take the blame.
That's why we had to end the series,
was-
because
that
the
was-
game was over at that point. We killed 25 people.
We'll probably talk more about it once we actually get to that episode, but that was a frustrating sequence to shoot because it seemed like the person who died the most during that whole filming session was Sarge. Just sitting in the Warthog. He kept getting killed for some reason.
Yeah. Also
We did,
frustrating.
Like 10 shots in a row with him dying.
Somehow everybody in Rooster Teeth went on vacation that week except for me and Matt. That was also frustrating.
We thought we all planned it because we thought we'd have the DVD done by then.
It's true, we did.
Now back here, we monkeyed a little bit with the timeline here too. Church runs into the base and has a conversation with Doc. At the end of season 4, the ship crashes on Donut actually as Church is running into the base. But it had been a few months. We took a little bit of creative license with the timeline there.
Matt, you've got a scab on your scalp.
Awesome. Thanks for pointing that out. Commentary. That was my son biting my head, I think.
What in the world?
2-year-olds.
So it's very appropriate with Junior biting Caboose and sucking out his blood. Maybe he's been watching too much Red vs. Blue and he has a influenceable mind. I think influenceable is a word, by the way. Perhaps we should introduce ourselves. My name is Bernie Burns. I play the voice of Church and Vic. On my left is...
Well, you also play Lopez,
On my left, correcting me, is Gus Sorolla.
who does the voice of Simmons. Not a kiss ass in real life.
No, and you also
Just
play
a
one of the
dickhead.
grunts.
Oh, and also one of the grunts.
My name is Jeff Ramsey. I am not a dickhead, and I play Griff.
You are a kiss ass, though.
I am a kiss ass. And sexy.
No, Jeff is never wrong. That's the important thing. Jeff.
That's good to know. You should all know that.
Oh, my name is Matt, and I play Sarge.
I'm Jason Saldana. I play Tucker. And Alien Junior. Oh, somebody. Whatever.
And I'm Nathan Zellner, and I do Andy when he's available.
And awesome opening credit sequences.
Andy often will not come out of his trailer. And so we couldn't get him for a lot of this season. He's the Mandy Patinkin of...
What a dated reference.
Yeah. This scene right here is where the guys are trying to enrage Donut to get him to lift the ship off of himself.
Uh-huh.
And I was just listening to the outtakes of that yesterday, trying to find stuff for the line readings portion of this DVD. And suffice to say, none of that stuff is going to make it in the line readings, but I was surprised and a little horrified at some of the stuff we came up with.
Takes a lot to horrify people from...
Yeah. I was
This
ashamed.
office.
I was ashamed of the entire office.
I love that Sarge is back to his science roots. I want to get a periodic table of the elements that has like all of Sarge's favorite elements. They'd all be able to like blow it up onium or something, you know?
I'll make a t-shirt of that.
Will you?
Yeah.
Blow it up
absolutely.
onium.
There you go.
TM. We own that.
One of the big changes we made from this season, from previous season, like 3 and 4 to season 5, was that we tried to get back to doing only 4 minutes an episode, 4 to 5 minutes an episode. Make these things a little bit more digestible when you watch them online. In season 3, we were getting up to 12-minute videos, and I'd say 8 and 9 was our average for a while.
Yeah,
I'm
average
glad
is
we
about
didn't
8
have any
minutes.
really long episodes, like I don't know, like a 17-minute episode or something like that.
That would have been
That would have blown the
ridiculous.
curve.
You know, but even though, I mean, if you look at that, episode 100 was significantly shorter than episode 50, which, you know, they're both those landmark episodes.
Well, then episode 50 was planned to be, right? Didn't we cut it down?
So was episode 100.
Episode 50 was planned to be 30 minutes.
I know.
We had to
I'm saying,
cut it
but
down.
only came out to be about 16 minutes.
Well, didn't
It
you
came
think
out.
episode 100 was planned to be longer?
I thought it
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think it was, like the like grade school equivalent of like when you're writing on a poster board, you get close to the end, you start cramming all the letters in, like that kind of thing. It's like, oh shit, what about Wyoming? Get him in, get him in. It was a thing where I just bumped the mic. It was a thing where, you know, we had some stuff we wanted to reveal. We learned way back in season 1 that if you're gonna have anything at all that's a plot development or a twist or whatever you want to call it, you've got to set it up and reveal it pretty much within the same episode, or you have to set it up in such an obscure way that people almost don't even notice it. Like you just plant little seeds. Remember the whole text thing being a girl, and you know the internet audience figured that out because they had 4 or 5 weeks of just discussing it online to do that. So with episode 100, some of the stuff we wanted to reveal, kind of want to do that all at once, which means we had to have a little bit longer of an episode. But season 5, we were just talking about this. Season 5 was a longer season too in terms of the episode count because we started at episode 78 and went all the way to 100, which, if Gus, you check my math,
I
it's
think
23
we
episodes.
started at 79, didn't we?
No,
78. Yeah. 78. So it's 23. We had to do 23 episodes, and we usually only do 19 episodes. So that's like 80% longer than your average season. And yet we came in. The season came in at 2 hours, even with the 30-minute or the 17-minute episode. We came in at just over 2 hours for the entire thing, including credits. Whereas season 3 is 19 episodes, and it's what, 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like 60 minutes of it is funny.
He's being a little liberal, I think.
You said 16 minutes, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
That I could see.
I think it was good though. I think having the shorter episodes and having more of them is preferable. You know, having them come out more often. because you do want to condense all that funny into as short a period of time as possible, and just keep putting it out on a regular basis, if at all possible. We also had some weird episodes this season in terms of the length and the way we divide up episodes. I remember in the season 1 and moving into season 2, we talked a lot about how we would have stretches where you wouldn't see some of the other characters in the episodes.
Today, like an hour ago. We need to cherish these times.
So I think having just some of the characters, in not being in some of the episodes really makes you want to see those characters more. So when we bring them back into those episodes later, like when you see Donut after however many episodes he was away,
Yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5
there's a lot
episodes.
bigger appreciation for missing him. Everybody's really glad to see Donut again.
For once.
For once, yeah.
Well, it's one of the things we lost in Halo 2 when we made the changes to it is the ability to take away some of the characters too. Like we split up the Reds and Blues in season 4, but like Sarge was gone. You were gone for half of season 1 almost. You were in episode 2, the Chupa thingy episode.
I was vacationing.
Yeah, and then you were gone to like episode 8 or 9.
Yeah,
When he
they
returned
blow
in the
up
ship
tank.
and blew up the tank.
Yeah, that's right.
So, like we did an alternate ending for the DVD where it takes place around the time that Church gets blown up by the tank, and I realized Sarge can't be in that scene because Sarge wasn't in the canyon.
This is a spoiler if you're the kind of person that likes to watch the audio commentary before anything else in the DVD.
Yeah, poor bastard.
For that one person out there, sorry.
I'm just noticing something watching this that I had forgotten about, which is that Simmons and Griff have SMGs right now, which is something that we got away from in this season because it was a pain to get SMGs on the map with the other weapon sets that we liked. So at some point, I guess pretty early on in the season, Simmons and Griff, they got upgrades to battle rifles.
Right, I noticed something else you missed or forgot about, which is where the Enraged Donut scene takes place, because this is it.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
here's another thing we did too. I don't think we ever talked about this in one of the making ofs. That shot right there with Sarge facing the ship, that is actually not on Blood Gulch, and that is not the Pelican that was done by Paul Marino and Matt. Matt, you want to talk about that for a second? How you do that?
Yeah, I wish we'd brought this up earlier. There's an earlier shot where it's framed low, and you just see the legs of, I think, Simmons and Sarge in the foreground, and the Pelican behind it. And that shot actually was done in 3D. Paul rendered the ship, and I composited it in, and it took about a year to do that one shot. And
It took a long time.
After we did that one shot, we thought we've really got to come up with...
We just saw Junior on the screen there.
We've got to come up with a better solution for getting this Pelican into the shots, because we're going to want to do this a whole lot. So Bernie and Jeff found a crashed Pelican
On Relic.
on Relic.
Yeah.
And so we were able to shoot all the stuff for them where they're close up to the ship and you can't tell what the rest of the body is, or what the rest of the terrain is around them. They're on Relic, and just cut it into Blood Gulch, and I think it cuts in pretty seamlessly. Like the shadows go in the same direction and everything.
Yeah.
We I actually don't think the shadows go the same direction, so we were careful to shoot around it. The hard part too is that we had to chroma up the ground because it's more beachy,
Right.
and we had to chroma up the green a little bit to make it look like it was grass.
It's true.
But for the ship, we used Blood Gulch and CG.
Mm-hmm.
We used Relic for some of the exterior stuff, and the ramp later in episode 100 with the aliens. Elongation for the interior. And then we used part of Colossus for the engine room, but just never used it. We cut it, but that was like
That's right.
a set. So we had like one set that was at least 3 different levels. Something we did, I think in this season we never did in other seasons. Like we used Waterworks for the cavern underneath the Blood Gulch. And I don't know about you guys, now when I see Waterworks, they feel tied together to me.
It feels like it's under Blood Gulch
Yeah.
to me. Yeah. And I think that shows that we're brilliant.
I agree. I'm glad you took my prompt there.
Kudos to us.
Well, speaking of brilliant, here's the ever-changing alien size.
Well, he starts smaller because he was just born. He grows very quickly.
And then he remembers he was small again, apparently, later on. That's all right. I'm supposed to be small. But here he's tiny in this scene, but then he was just born.
It's because he's standing up. He crouches over later.
Yeah, is minuscule. And we only did one shot that was any kind of element at all. We never used any compositing tricks on Junior, except for the first one where we put the boot in place with him. Mm-hmm. Everything else we just did forced perspective, where if we're looking down on Junior, we would just stand on top of a warthog and look directly down on him, and he looked tiny from that high angle.
If you really look at the grass texture, you can tell like it doesn't make any sense. the scale just from that perspective. But
It's-
nobody.
It's baby grass around him also.
But
Yeah, right.
but
nobody. No.
don't do that. Just take our word for it.
That's a relic shot right there.
Yeah.
Which hopefully we're in the right place. Of Sarge here, all these shots of Sarge are against the ship and relic. He's not even on the same map as these guys.
How are they talking?
Different day of shooting. And for Junior, so what we would do, we actually have a little featurette on the DVD that explains how we shrunk Junior, and it's all just forced perspective. Here in this shot, in particular with Doc and Church, Junior was just further away in the background there.
This shot's kind of a hybrid shot. This one was shot, the left half of the screen was shot on Relic, and the right half of the screen was shot on Blood Gulch, and we married them together, and then there's a little bit of animation here coming up, I think, where the ship opens up, yeah. And that part is actually CG. So it's like partly from Halo on Halo 2 Relic, Halo 2 Blood Gulch, or Coagulation, and then a little bit of CG thrown in.
I take back what I said about the shadows, because you see there the shadows do go the right direction.
Yeah.
Unless you guys did some monkeying there that I'm not
No.
aware of.
No.
We had a great line, remember, from the episode where they were in the black, where Sister walks out of the ship. That was the end of an episode right there. And you hear Sister walking out of the ship, and Sarge said, "Hey, who's that guy? Let's shoot him." So, but
Did we get that?
We'd cut it just because we don't have the shot of Sister coming out of the ship. Junior has hit puberty here, obviously, and is now he's actually here. He's intended to be in front of Doc, and as long as we, angle the characters looking in the right direction, we're fine. And we did the same trick there for having, blood-drained Caboose pass out as we did in the previous scene. And here, once again, masking the presence of the ship in the canyon, we put Church, covering where the ship would be seen, just so Matt wouldn't have to do his billionth composite shot of the ship.
It got actually really confusing just to figure out where we could logistically place people and have a scene that looked different than things we'd shot already and not have to show the ship.
And then we added Sarge's grave to behind Red Base, so we kept
It was like impossible.
I know, we kept adding elements that we had to shoot around. Not to mention,
Thank God we quit when we did.
yeah, no kidding. We had nothing left.
There is that one really cool shot we got kind of coming over the edge of the cliff looking down on Red Base where we should see Sarge's grave, and we just decided
No,
screw
we
it.
just
Screw it, we just couldn't do it. It's just too
Yeah,
hard.
the joke stuff, if we're not going to come back to it, we felt it was okay. Like, we don't show Tex and Church's grave,
It's true.
which were there from, season 2.
Yeah.
Speaking of season 2, here we have Sister on the screen. This is one of those things that we had an idea a long time ago and finally just found a way to put it in. I remember we discussed having Griff have a little sister or a little brother between season 1 and 2. And how
I think we
would
discussed
work that
Sister,
2 and 3, I think.
and we
No.
discussed Sister being almost everybody's little sister.
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
At one point.
I think Tucker, it was going to be Tucker's sister for a while, right?
It'll be a fun foil because, he's the womanizer, and if he has to suddenly be, like, nice to girls.
But he
without-
couldn't have, he'd have his whole family there then because he has the baby and the sister.
I think Jason said he'd hit on her anyway.
I wish that wasn't true.
It'd be like a real TV show spin-off where the whole family comes along.
There you go.
Cousin Oliver could join in.
Tucker's World.
And we definitely spent a lot of time establishing Sister very beginning of the season, or beginning of the middle of the season, because we knew we were going to be, stopping the main Blood Gulch Chronicle series here. So we wanted to make sure we had all the characters we wanted to establish. We wanted to have them all established. So when we started doing like the other PSAs and miniseries and things like that, there it is, guys, things like that. When we started doing those,
Things will
that
be
we had all the
starting in this
characters.
nature.
We had all the characters in our arsenal already established, and we all love Sister.
We all love sister.
We have an arsenal?
An arsenal of characters, of which Griff would be like a dud bullet of some
Thank you.
kind. Or a weapon that nobody uses, like the club with the nails in it, the 2x4. Sister was great because we were casting for the part of Sister, and everyone here said, "Why don't we just have Becca read for it?" And we had used Becca in a previous episode of Panics, used her voice in that. And I really don't like reusing people's voices. If we've used them in anything else, if we can avoid it. Now, the guys in the office, it's really easy because we're just convenient to throw them in the booth and have them read stuff. So I was really kind of against her reading for it. We auditioned 2 other actresses, and she came in last. And then we started... The character was much different.
Yeah.
It was like Farm Girl. almost like a girl Caboose, like from early season 1, like real innocent and wide-eyed. But when Becca got in the booth, we just started throwing these horribly dirty things to say at her, and she kept saying them all. And then it became a game of what won't Becca say. And
She'll
we
fucking say anything.
We never found out what Becca won't say.
Yeah, apparently she will say anything, and so then it was impossible not to cast her to play sister, and then the part changed to match her. We had a lot of fun. That shot one take.
Yeah, that
We got really
incredible.
lucky. The setup was about 30 minutes, but yeah, one take.
Well, he kept talking about it. You know what I mean? For some reason, when we shoot, machinima style videos, one of the great things is you can just try stuff, and if it doesn't work, I forget it and just set it back up again. That one we like. Here's exactly what we're gonna do.
Well, because we knew if we didn't get it right the first time, it was going to be one of those things where it would be 20 takes, and it would just be a huge pain and take all night.
Right.
And it would be like 15 minutes of setup for each attempt.
And we planned it out and it worked perfectly.
Almost all the action stuff is like that. Almost all the physical humor jokes are just like that, though, where they're just easy to set up. Unless it's Matt, directing, season 238, and then how did episode 99 go with all the war mix?
Episode 9 was brutal. It was three intense, 20-hour days. It was pretty rough.
I remember when we produced the fight ending. Remember when you and I did the fight ending?
Yeah.
And we did it. We just knocked it out. We knew what the shots want to have and how people die and stuff like that. And we produced it in one night. And Matt was like, "How did you do that?" I go, "You weren't there." Matt loves the action stuff with. Okay, now this shot here interrupt myself here. The shot of Junior, he's actually behind Doc, but because Doc is looking forward in his access, it looks like Junior's standing in front of him and just looks smaller. But he's actually standing behind him.
We totally tricked you.
Yeah. It's an illusion. Anyway, so it's the action stuff though has always been like that. Even going back to season 1, that shot of the warthog when it flips up on top of the base and lands right in front of Griff, that was take number 5. Or 6.
Yeah, it was take number 3 or 4. I wasn't there for that, but yeah, I remember you guys saying that. You got it pretty quickly.
Where were you?
I don't know.
That was pretty late in the season. That was episode 17 or 16.
Yeah, I think I was maybe in an event or out of town or something.
We didn't do events.
We didn't have events back then.
I guess we didn't, did we?
No.
I was there for that.
You probably work.
I might have been at work, yeah. I don't know.
Back in the day job.
Man, I can't believe his boss wouldn't let him off work for such an important episode.
Well,
My boss was there.
We had to make money. That was our job.
It's true.
Like, what if the Blues don't suck? What if the Blues are awesome? This changes everything.
So this is the Sarge funeral scene. This is Matt's wonderful work. Matt and I actually go back and forth on the dirt effects.
Yeah, the dirt never comes out looking right. It always looks kind of just weird and gross.
It's kind of like oatmeal.
Yeah, it kind of looks like poo-poo oatmeal. It just looks terrible.
Poo-poo oatmeal?
Poop oatmeal.
That's horrendous image.
I have a 2-year-old.
I know we've all had kids, since the production of season 1, and so it's funny how our language has changed.
Rivers Blues
Oatmeal.
produced 5 kids now, right?
What's that?
Rivers Blues produced 5 kids.
And
Yep.
2 good ones.
2 of them, they're probably going to make it, yeah.
Are we counting Gus as one of those kids? Because. But the only other visual effect that I think I've ever gone back and tried to change was a dirt effect.
I remember
Whose
that.
grave was that?
It was a grave for, was it Donut?
It was a PSA or something.
It was like episode
April Fool's
28.9
episode,
or whatever.
The last episode ever.
Oh,
Was
right.
it the
Yeah.
one where Simmons gets buried?
No,
Sarge gets buried.
Oh, no. I remember what it was.
Like
It was
season 4.
Was it
It was in season
Griff
4.
getting buried in a 0-hour video?
And his hands coming out of the ground?
No,
Maybe.
Griff in the 0-hour video. Griff's in a suitcase.
Anyway, long story short, there was a grave and there was dirt on it.
And Matt did a horrible job.
It was horrible.
It was horrible.
And I tried to fix it, and Matt didn't understand. He thought my fix looked horrible, but I had Jeff, luckily, who agrees with anybody that I was helping.
I think that it must have been missing some layers.
So
or
just for
something.
posterity, if you see a grave effect and it looks awful, Bernie is claiming that he did it. I think that's how we ended up on that discussion.
I think
There you
so.
go.
I think so.
Here's Griff
this is
doing
one-
the
this
Sarge roast at his funeral.
That's one of my favorite
Hi-yo.
parts of season 5.
The Sarge roast?
The Griff doing the roast of Sarge.
This was actually a part of the DVD that is different from the episodes. This is where we shuffled scenes around, so that we wouldn't have a red scene coming up against a red scene. Like the way that these actually work in the episode, Sarge is being buried. We cut to black. Then next week we had an episode that started with the Sarge eulogy or a roast, and I had to reorder it for the DVD.
You know, after this episode, Don Rickles sent me a very nice letter.
Did he really?
They thought I did a great job, yeah. And an invitation to the Friars Club. So, I get to wear one of those jackets.
It's always funny because we try to find images too that we can put in the for the visual effects, like our cheap little visual effect jokes, like Sarge's wreath. And I was hoping we could find like one of those horse, like big horseshoe wreaths for Sarge. So imagine that Griff is in charge of flowers. Although technically, Simmons is the
social chairman. I said it right that time.
You did.
It only took you 3 years.
I never knew I had a speech impediment till we did Red vs. Blue.
When we get in the booth, everyone has a warm-up line when we're doing audio. And Gus's is always, I'm the social chairman.
It's the hardest phrase to say in the world.
From season 2, when we had the big battle at the beginning of season 2. Big battle. They stood still in shot at each other. But, yeah, he had a line saying, I'm the social chairman.
I'm the social chairman.
45 takes.
You're probably not exaggerating.
Yep.
It probably
it's in the line readings for season 2, I think.
Social chairman?
Social chairman.
And what do you say? Do you even warm up?
I don't warm
Jeff?
up. I don't need to, baby. This is 100% gold. First take every time.
He's always enthusiastic.
I can always tell you what Matt does. Matt always gets in and goes, oh, Simmons. Every time.
Yep.
I don't know why. Maybe some kind of like Oedipal thing. I didn't use that right at all. But, yeah. I think people understood what I was saying. It was creepy and weird and mispronounced, basically. And it was. We did another, going back to that outtake, we just did it today. Matt had to get in and warm up for his season 1 Sarge voice.
Yeah.
And he used a totally different line for that. What was it? It was, well, you used the
I
old
did the
Simmons
confetti
parade,
line.
yeah.
Yeah, the confetti line.
Once again, a Simmons line, I'd like to point out.
Oh my god.
Simmons would be proud.
It is true.
Yeah, something about the syllables. I guess it was like that was some of my first dialogue, working through it. Like, you go back to that, like, how you, like, keyed in on certain words, and Sarge certainly says Simmons and Griff a whole lot,
Mm-hmm.
So.
And Griff always says, or Tucker says, what happened? I think I've written that line 1,000 times.
Church always says, something what?
What? Give me a break. God damn it. This is this scene here, though, where we had to, like, have characters walk up where other characters were standing and take each other's place, like at the podium or at the front of the crowd here. This is a good example of how blocking was, I think, a lot harder in Halo 2 than it was in Halo.
I think shooting those scenes, if you're going to talk about how hard it was mostly my fault. I remember this.
Why's that?
I kept screwing it up. I couldn't hit the marks.
Well, it's difficult, but then, like, having the characters turn all the way around, like, they do that little, you can see where, like, they turn part of the way and all of a sudden start hopping. Like, that is on top of the Warthog looking down. Church and Tucker are standing on the Warthog now, and we're looking up at them from a crouch position. If we pan down a little bit, we would see their,
He's fucking tiny again.
we would see their...
Microwave.
The alien physiology is not something we totally understand. So...
They kind of expand and contract.
Yeah, it depends on the time of day, how much sun they're getting. It's complicated.
We use, like, every... You'll see later, there's a point where we're standing everyone on the base, and we put him in the trench that leads down to the ramp. That's like an old, like, Wizard of Oz trick, It's like Tom Cruise is on our set. But there's a very specific reason why we shot the alien scenes here on this part of the canyon, why they took the new word baby out and immediately took them over by the edge of the cliff here. It's because the eye line for the footing is such that it's easy to do that trick there.
Yeah, that's actually where we discovered the trick. On accident.
So we did put the grave in there. The grave wasn't that wide shot. Which I think was just like me, like, taking a Photoshop and, like, putting some shmush on there.
Shmush?
Is that
one of
the technical term?
That's exactly right. That's what makes my dirt better than Matt's dirt. So, right here, should the ship be in the shot? That's questionable.
Let's
It's
take
like
it
right over the...
No way.
Nah.
And also, you'll see a lot of things we did with the Reds, even going back to Season 4, we kept them the hell away from Red Base. Because Red Base was completely encased in a shadow. And there was not much we could do about it.
The Reds are always, like, out on their front lawn. Just like that guy that was always, like, working on his motorcycle in Buda. Just always out there. The Reds are always out there just, like, hanging out airing their dirty laundry for everybody to see.
Yeah, if there was a way for Griff not to have a shirt on and just
Yeah,
hanging out,
exactly.
it'd be great.
That when Simmons pulls out the shotgun, there we have one of the standard noises that we have. We have a directory where we work on these episodes, which is just a directory of like all the possible different Halo noises. Like there's a shotgun library with a cocking, hitting somebody with the shotgun, firing the shotgun, reloading the shotgun, pulling the shotgun out, and we just go through and like add in all those sound effects because we have to mix them a little bit higher than they are normally in the game, just so we can hear them over the background noise and still be able to hear the dialogue.
You know, the one sound effect that we could use some more of that we haven't been able to find any more good filler for is the body drop sound effect.
Mm-hmm.
We have like 2 good body drop sound effects, and we use them every single time somebody falls. So, and listen, like the next couple times you'll hear it. It's like that guy must have fallen exactly the same way as the last guy.
In exactly the same
The
environment.
same environment on those 2 rocks, everything the same.
Falling on concrete sounds a lot like falling on grass.
It's amazing.
That's I can tell you where we did that. We got that from Battle Creek in Halo 2, but we have to get a cleanest possible sound, and usually when you're dying, there's something taking place. You're getting shot, like there's an echoing sound effect of a shot. There's a big debate too about this, the placement of text and church. Who's on the left? Who's on the right? When they're laying there dead. So it might change places, but we always go back and have to reference who's laying where, and also had to use the lighting trick on dead bodies, which was not fun. But where was I? What I was talking about that. So what I had to do to get that sound effect of the clean body drop was I went on top of the base, killed myself with a grenade, and then fell down into the base, so that by the time I had fallen that far, it was in a place where it was quiet enough to get the sound effect, and yet far enough away for long enough fall that all the other noises had faded away.
That's cool.
I'd wondered about that. I've heard that sound effect a few times, and I always wondered where you were, blowing yourself up with a grenade.
You hear the blowing of the grenade, then you hear the shields down, and then you hear another grenade go off, and you hear a bunch of tinkling glass, and the guy fall to his death.
Yeah.
But there was a couple places we found on maps where we could get clean sound effects. One of them is way under the bases in Battle Creek, where it seems like there's no background noise at all. You know, there's no vents, there's no chirping birds or anything like that, so we could really isolate the sounds and pull them out there. Had to be careful though, because the game does everything. The game adds in echo effects. If you're in a concrete room, you get room tone on your sound effects. So you had to use special ones in certain situations.
And we do have to dampen those down occasionally. I remember we were trying to plug in some on episode 100 when they were outside shooting, and I think I had taken those files from that recording session. They were all like shooting outside, and there's this long echo on the end of them. So you got to clamp all that stuff down. I always like the framing on this shot because it actually looks like little sister talking to big brother in a way, like for however the terrain ended up, making her look shorter.
But she's got the pistol, which is always that.
But she's got a pistol. It's like, don't fuck with me, older brother.
Yeah, well, no, I mean that lean over. They do a little further lean over when they put their pistol down.
It sticks their butt out too.
Yeah, which is kind of hot.
It's good for
Yeah,
her.
it's all right. Snarky, huh?
You gotta change it up every now and then. Church can only say "don't be a douche" for the millionth time before you want to hear something new like snarky. And the colorblind thing, when Sister was colorblind, which was a great explanation of, of course, pokes fun at like all these guys look the exact same, which is something we deal with. But the colorblind thing, we came back to that a bunch where we kept referencing like Sister would say a color. I don't know why. We never say colors at all, and she for some reason like in scripts would end up with a color in her dialogue. We had to pull it back out because Sister can't know a color.
I guess everybody likes this dialogue a lot. We're suddenly all watching intently.
That's how good I am.
But I think at this point is when we had given up on having the anything but the battle rifles for anybody. We switched everybody over to battle rifles just because getting the SMGs was a pain, and really for Tucker, getting the sword almost impossible.
Yeah.
Almost impossible to get. I mean, you could put on random weapons and just keep like reloading the game or killing people until you get the right weapons, but it was really difficult to have Tucker in any of the scenes with the sword.
That's why Bernie wrote in Tucker with the sword and then went on vacation, and Matt and I quickly wrote Tucker out with the sword.
I love that
Episode
shot.
99.
That sounds on the back of the DVD right there. Hey, what do you mean I wrote Tucker with a sword went on vacation? When did they go on vacation?
Episode 99.
That's right around the time Tucker got the sword. That's
That
Tucker
was
had the sword that
we
you
did
had?
it. Actually, we did figure Nathan and I figured out a way to shoot Tucker with the sword that we got for the opening intro.
They even brought their new guy. Girl. Whatever. Just play along. Act like our team is okay, and we have everything under control. Please, I've been putting on that act for like 3 years now. What do you want, Red? I got a prisoner for you! What do you say? Says he has a prisoner for us. Oh, what, they're giving us prisoners now? Dude, that sounds like bullshit. I smell a trap. Reds aren't that smart.
boring.
Hey, Jason, you're not talking. Why don't you go get some more beer?
I can get beer.
Go do it.
These are some of my favorite moments in Red vs. Blue when the Blues and Reds face off with each other, yelling at each other across the canyon. Like, they're too afraid to approach each other, even though nobody's ever shot anybody ever. I mean, they'll stand across the canyon with sniper rifles pointing at each other, spying on each other, but they won't approach within like 30 feet of each other if they can possibly avoid it.
Well, the Blues stink. You know, they smell bad.
We have
Griff and
armor.
Church have been in prison together.
That's true. We don't talk about
They
that.
know each
though.
other intimately.
What happens in prison?
Stays in prison.
Yeah.
Now, here's where it's a good point to talk about the ending of the series. Why end the series? And the big thing was the weight of continuity when we
Yes.
talked about it. I mean, just, also for the fact that we had worked on it for 4.5 years of just this one threaded storyline that essentially started when Tex showed up in episode 10. Yeah, she showed up, she brought O'Malley with her, and then suddenly we had this like other villain who was in here in this freelancer story that threaded all the way through episode 10 to episode 100. But here's a good example, like, and it comes up later in the season too. Griff says or they start yelling at Griff about Sister and stuff like that. Griff yells back, "Yeah, too bad it's not another alien one of your guys could fuck," in reference to Tucker. Griff has no concept at all. There'd be no way within the story that Griff knows about the alien. He wasn't on the quest. As far as I know, they never even came into contact with the alien because they were out of Zanzibar by the time the alien showed up, and they didn't have any scenes together. But at some point, you want to make a funny joke. You know what I mean? So you don't want to have a scene like, hey, we have this funny joke where he tells how about another alien you can fuck. He's like, okay, but let's set up an episode where Griff learns about the alien to tell that joke. And so that became the thing, like with the 100 episodes, is how in a little 4 or 5 minute episode that's on the internet, that's supposed to be fun and funny, how do you address 12 hours of backstory and make sure everybody knows everything?
And as the season went on, it got harder and harder.
Yeah, I guess, you know, the Red vs. Blue episodes are as long as, like, the intros, the openings on, like, a show like Lost, you know, the previously on Lost.
Yeah.
You'll watch, 4 minutes of backstory before you watch an hour-long TV show.
And it seemed like towards the end of season 5, like every episode required us to go back and watch 4 or 5 or 6 episodes, or to call Demono and ask him because he has a encyclopedic memory of everything that's ever happened in the
Yeah, we use
series.
resource. I use Wikipedia. You know what I mean?
Wikipedia is
And use
great,
our own forums a lot for stuff to like go back and cross-reference on stuff and make sure. And we actually had a mistake. Well, I mean, technically it's a mistake. At some point, I had the philosophy in my head of, if we put it on screen, everybody knows it. The audience knows it. All the characters know it. As soon as it's presented to the audience, let's just say that everybody knows it. And I guess that it was too much in a way to do that. Like, there was an episode coming up later where they're underground and they see Sister's armor on screen, and Donut says, that looks like Sister's armor. And that was in the episode, and somebody on the forums didn't like that because Donut was underground when Sister showed up. He wouldn't know who Sister was. But even though there's tons of hours off screen where Donut could have learned about a yellow character named Sister, and I'm sure Griff might have even told him, unless it happened on screen, it wasn't acceptable.
Right.
Unless Donut learning on screen, hey, there's a girl that showed up and she has her armor, then it was unacceptable. So we actually changed it to Simmons saying it. But it's a good example of you want to do stuff that's goofy and fun and funny, and you want the story. The story became fun to develop and build as well. But at some point, the story outweighs and you kind of lose sight of what we're trying to do here, which is just have fun, goofy videos about dudes in video games.
In addition to that, also you have to deal with the fact that when new people are introduced to the series and the first episode's like episode 92, do they then say, oh, this is pretty funny, I'm going to go back and watch 91 episodes so I understand what's going on?
We got an email about that just the other day.
Did we?
Yeah, some dude wrote and said, "Hey, I just found your site. I watched all 99 episodes.
Oh,
It's
that's
started 400
right.
to come out
Yeah.
On like
In 2 days
like
or something.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, thank
12
you.
hours. That's
Yeah.
12 hours of backstory, yeah. Across all the 100 episodes, yeah.
He had to stop watching because he had to make his Lord of the Rings marathon.
because he had to go to the hospital.
No doubt his sides were splitting.
Oh,
Wow.
This is usually the point in the commentary, though, where we point out that Gus is not a writer. So it's very appropriate. You got to keep with tradition.
It's kind of known in the office that Gus has one funny joke a year. I don't think he's.
I hope it's in the next 100
Hey, you got
minutes.
like 5 months left, right?
Is Caboose. He can tell you everything you possibly need to know about Blue Base. Is she a mean girl or a regular girl? Caboose, what did I tell you?
I like these little bits where like Church imparts the like older brotherly advice to Caboose. Like there are no such thing as nice girls, or when he has the talk with the proposed talk with Caboose about how babies are made. The end of season 4.
Right. Which came up, I think we cut from the Caboose's mind stuff later.
Yeah, we did.
Like, Caboose still doesn't know how babies are made. Church tells him he definitely wants to have a conversation. This is where we risk the forced perspective stuff, because it's clear that Tex is approaching from behind, but she looks smaller. So it's like, is this going to work? Is this going to break the illusion? But the illusion still works on me.
I think it's because she's in shadow. It helps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gives her a feeling of depth.
Different layer there, yeah. But I still see, like, we discovered that thing by accident in season 4.
Now, wasn't it a Sarge and Donut?
Yeah, it was a
talking,
mini
right?
Donut. We're like,
Yeah.
this donut looks really small there.
Yeah, how did we discover that? I remember it was somewhere around season 4.
I think
might
that-
have been during DVD production. or
No, they
something.
were approaching Blue Base.
Oh, okay.
And I immediately did the test, remember, of
Yeah.
brought the alien in and jumped him around and stuff and thought, this looks great.
Yeah.
And actually, there was a friend of ours that I showed him the test, like that night to make sure it was Flash. I showed him the test to make sure he'd see it. He goes, what, is he just further away? So, I guess this is going to work. But it did. I thought it worked really well.
Because we had talks about how to bring the alien in before. We were talking about compositing him into every shot or just having him never be on screen.
There was discussion about trying to find a way to, like, make him a grunt, remember? Because it was more, like, babyish looking, you know?
Yeah.
And we thought, how can we possibly do that and, like, you know, model stuff? Kind of like the Pelican. I love this shot here.
Yeah. That was a good cut.
That's where we accidentally shot Caboose. And you actually see blood fly off Caboose in there. And so we just had Joel add an ow when he gets shot.
That's how tough Caboose is.
Yeah. Caboose isn't smart enough to know he's really actually hurt. Then he should fall down. Yeah, there's some disturbing stuff. Like, there's a shot coming up here, too, where when Church pokes his head up and he gets shot, the freeze frame of that is horribly gory.
Oh, I remember we
It's like
talked
a
about.
big cloud of blood around his head.
I remember we talked about making that our avatar on the site.
Yeah.
It was really, really disturbing.
And there was definitely a conscious effort to revisit jokes that we had done before that we had gotten away from. Like, another continuity thing, like the weight of the backstory being a big deal, is Church and Tex being ghosts. It was a lot of fun. The possession stuff was lots of fun. But then we had characters we wanted to place in dangerous situations. And with those characters, and then it's like, well, they're ghosts anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? It's like you want to do stuff with characters that's fun, but you know, it's like right here is a shot.
Nope. She still has ammo.
And so the revisiting some of that stuff is fun, and we hadn't done the Church as a ghost stuff for a long time.
And some more people.
This was a lot of fun too.
Some good Simmons
Simmons
lines
is
coming
off. Simmons was actually off screen there to the right, and I think if you look in the top right hand corner, you can see his feet before he drops into frame. He jumps off of the Covenant tank that's there, which is not in the shot, but
I think it probably depends on the TV you have, whether or not you can see that.
You guys didn't go back and fix that?
I think it's.
oh, well, I think so. I'm actually writing it down right now,
Yeah.
so that I just
we
said
can go
that.
back and double check.
So if you don't see it, it means we fixed it.
Yeah. Because I remember I was at an event or something, and you guys made that episode, and I was ashamed to see that foot.
It was.
Oh,
it
please.
was-
We probably had to
could
point it
see,
out to you.
You could see the foot in the capture window, but not on the monitor. It was like barely in the.
I think I was helping with that shot, and that's why it got screwed up.
Could you guys tell whether or not that one was letterboxed when you watched it?
Don't look at me. That's a Gus thing.
I gotta say, I like Nathan being part of the commentary because he pipes up once every 10 minutes to tell you why it's his fault.
Well, Gus Wes had a heart-to-heart with me one day where he told me to stop Mission Impossible.
He's so much better at doing the intro stuff.
Yeah.
Stick to what works.
Once again, very careful not to show the ship. I mean, I can see every one of these shots where it's like, we didn't show a very specific part of the canyon. Luckily, we made it the very middle of the canyon. So, we had to place, like... I'm surprised we weren't, like, inserting palm trees and, like, potted plants by the end of it. It's like, hey, Donut, what are we doing here in the middle of the canyon? Oh, I just wanted to show you my new plant. And we actually did, we'd go back in some of the earlier episodes with the Pelican. We had to go back and redo some of those shots because it was a big debate. Not a debate, but we had to like make sure that we had the correct orientation of the Pelican in the base that matched when it crashed in season 4.
Yeah, and we screwed that up a bunch of times.
And by we, he means him.
No.
Matt, you always had it pointing towards the base.
No, I didn't. I never had it pointing towards the base because it's not actually when we drew on the board. We drew it was like 90 degrees from the base.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's like 85, 80 degrees from the base.
Well, you will see. You will see on the. There's a featurette for that.
Well, you can see it very clearly in the overhead shots that we have.
Right. No, what I'm saying, like in the episode 78 commentary. All right, we got more beer now. Sorry, guys.
What?
In the episode 78 making of thing that Jeff and I did, the director's commentary, we actually inserted a shot with the old Pelican shot at the end of it.
Oh, you probably where it was backwards. It was literally it should have been forwards and it was backwards the other way. Right?
It was upside down.
One of my favorite things about
it was
season
an actual
5.
Pelican the bird.
Did you not bring your
Wasn't that when we
protractor?
rendered Joel in there at some point?
We did. That was
As a
it.
joke?
Instead of showing how we could insert anything in there, we inserted Joel.
One of my favorite parts of season 5 was watching you guys fight every single week about where the Pelican was and the orientation, and you could never come to terms. And I'm pretty sure you guys would flip.
Look who's talking. I want you to know that if Jeff was in charge of Red vs. Blue production, we would get like
everything would look fine.
Maybe be like, yeah, everything's fine. Oh, is this shot okay? Yeah. I don't know. Donut's blue, isn't he? He's not supposed to be green. It's fine. Leave it alone. It makes sense. It's clearly Caboose talking. I mean, there would be entire episodes where there'd be 50% black shots. It'd be like, it'd be episode 22. We surrender. Hey, what happened to this eclipse? That's crazy.
That's just my artistic vision.
Jeff is the ultimate compromiser. He will work with anyone to get the hell out of the office.
I can't believe you went and actually got some more beer, Jason. Thanks.
What do you mean?
Kudos, baby.
Where'd you get it from? No,
CVS.
don't say. It's probably right.
You'll notice we used the lighting trick here, which we talked about ad nauseum in our online commentaries. But every week, Jeff, what did I tell you? Every time we shot in Waterworks?
This is the last time we're going to shoot in Waterworks. You started that halfway through the season. I would get so happy because it's a pain in the ass to do lighting tricks on Waterworks, and you got that structure makes the whole map shake.
Yeah,
which is always a pain in the ass.
You ever to shoot around it?
Which worked great once for the donut following, and ever since then it was a huge hindrance. And every episode you'd go, "Don't worry, this is the last week. I promise, it's out of this." And then I would get a script, and the first fucking thing would be the guys are in Waterworks. I'd be like, "What did you said?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, well I just had to write this in. This
One more
week.
scene.
One more scene.
Well, let's go back.
Including all the way to episode 100.
Let's go back. Let's
Fucking
go back
12
because
episodes.
this is not a new kind of phenomenon here. Because what was at the end of season 3? Remember the discussion we had at the end of season 3? All right, Ghost Church.
Ghost Church.
Way too difficult. I know it looks cool, but it's just
That
not worth it. We're cutting it out. First episode of season 4 was Ghost Church in every single scene.
We had that discussion at the end of season 2 as well.
Season 1?
Yeah, season 1.
He got his body back.
Dickhead.
Yeah, we started season 2 with Lopez, him possessing Lopez, because that fixed the problem. No more
well
Ghost
done.
Church. Then we introduced Ghost
Then
Tex.
it was like then like 4 episodes into season 2, Lopez takes his body back and Church is forced out.
That's right. The deleted scenes with the Ghost Warthog, though, those were fucking awesome. You'll even hear us discussing to go over to the light. we set up in the plot. Let's get as close to the lights as possible.
And it's gross.
Oh man! You know there was a feature in Halo 1 that we really missed in Halo 2, which was the headlamps.
Yeah.
You know, that you could have with less than 4 people in the game, you could use headlamps.
Yeah.
which was useful. And when we played the Halo 3 beta, we were very happy to learn that the mongooses have headlights.
Mongoose.
Yeah.
The monkeys.
Yeah, lighting in Halo 2 was the biggest change, really.
Yeah,
I mean, the lighting's really cool. Like
No.
for the gameplay they got in
No,
there.
the biggest change was the body posture.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
You guys had a harder time learning how to deal with body posture than I did.
Well, I'm not saying it's hard to deal with, but there's that point, where in the pivot where it kind of resets.
Okay, well here's the deal though with
That's when
that.
they're playing around. They always look to the left too.
But don't forget though that what we use for the body posture is different than what the game was built around.
Absolutely.
This lowering the weapon thing that they put in is like you lower the weapon and their body posture changes and their orientation changes. We always freak out every time we raise our guns how much left and right we get out of the characters before they do that turn thing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean this thing is a total almost like a total
it's
Easter egg that's in the game.
It's like 45 degrees versus like 180 degrees. Mm-hmm. It's pretty nuts.
Did you get your protractor out for that one, Joe?
I did. I put my math hat on.
I wonder if anybody's breaking into this place right now.
I do like that Gus makes fun of you and he uses the word protractor.
Yeah. This is coming from the guy who went to math camp 3 years in a row.
6 weeks each year.
God. Gus regales me with crazy stories from math camp.
bet.
But the
like
girls
how
there
they
were hot.
would get the pudding to make stuff stick to the walls.
Wow.
Yeah, they got pretty wild on Friday nights.
We make
Sometimes they
we
played
make
spades.
fun. Now, see here left and right. Was church on the left? Here's a quick quiz.
It's flipped.
Left earlier.
And they're also not lit up. Because they weren't lit up here because Donut has to walk up, and Donut couldn't be lit and walk up. And you'll see that we gradually move them to be more and more lit up. Like Sarge is lit here, and when we go back to Donut, he'll probably be lit in the next shot. But when they walk up, they can't be lit. See, Donut's lit now.
And if you ever notice an episode where the guys aren't lit up and they should be, that's a Matt episode.
Dude, there's that one episode we shot down here. There was for the whole first half, they were walking around.
Yeah.
And it was impossible. I mean, you can't do it.
When you say they were walking around, you mean like Gus and Jeff around the office? And you're trying to get them to help you?
Every time.
It was like 3 or 4 characters walking simultaneously. It's just not. You can't do it.
Wow.
Matt's a very visual guy, and his episodes I think always have a great look to them. But every time we do an episode, I go, "Hey, Bernie would probably want us to light the guys right here," and Matt goes, "Nah, fuck that."
Yeah.
That was like your stock response to everything. "Nah, fuck that."
It's a sign of a really great director too. 3 people walking. Wow. All the fucking Emmys.
It's like Reservoir Dogs, man. That's cool. This is some good directing right here. I like these 2 guys talking.
Look at them carefully placed in the light.
Here comes some
that's
fun
fun.
stuff.
This hardest thing here. This was Matt, and this is the hardest thing here was Simmons falling with the needle in his neck, right? Or was it that shot with him talking?
I think you're right. I think that's the falling. That wasn't too bad. I don't think that right there. Like, normally we do this thing in After Effects where you can track action on the screen, kind of like automatically in a way.
Matt's penis joke, by the way. I gotta say,
How long do we discover that the needles stay?
wrote it in the script before testing it.
It's less than a second. Right?
Less than a
It's
second.
like
Yeah.
10 frames or
There's
something.
8
It's kind of like the
frames
same
or
thing as the grenade on Donut.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, the
kinda-
grenade was.
Yeah, but we couldn't
problem.
loop it as easily because
Yeah.
they were all over the place. And then he would die too because we'd like use needlers from all over the place to shoot him.
Right.
And he'd die. We did another video though for the launch of Halo 3 that we did, like a promotional video, and we shot the tires of the Warthog with a needler. That worked great. That was fine.
Yeah.
That worked
Yeah.
for that shot, but it didn't work for that the Griff shot there. In a couple of shots here coming up, you'll see we actually started to scoot around the base and started inserting the Pelican coming out of the side of the base, or in front of the base. Oh, there's a ghost there.
Yeah.
I noticed that. That's something we very carefully avoid. Which sister was walking up there and she took like a double step, and that's something that happens when you walk very slowly with your gun lowered. Sometimes you get that kind of double step in there, but you just have to go back and redo it.
Jeff probably needed to get home that day.
Yeah.
Well,
It's fine.
it's totally, no big deal.
She tripped. There was a bush there.
The episode's been out for 6 months and nobody noticed until right now, so obviously it was fine.
Clearly, quality is job one.
Quality is 8.
Where did that get Ford?
What?
Where did that get Ford? Quality's job one. In the shithole.
Wow, Gus with the corporate zinger.
Wow.
Maybe bouncing the bush should have been job one.
It's got
Notice
stock
that Simmons is
together.
now bleeding out of his mouth.
It's coolant to hit his coolant line. Simmons 2.0.
There you go.
We
There
used
you
that
go.
in season 1.
we're not going to comment on it because it's not going to be part of this big movie. But for the fight ending, we discovered after all this time, like every time we'd shoot someone, they would die in certain ways. When we go to Caboose's mind, it was tough to get O'Malley and Tex to die in the right orientation. We spent a lot of time to make sure they died in the right orientation after they get killed in Caboose's mind. So the bodies matched for different shots. But there's a great shot in the fight ending of episode 100. No, it's actually in episode 100 when he gets shot in the neck and he goes down gurgling. Yeah, that's, that's in the actual main body of the episode, so it is on this. I can't tell you how hard I laughed at that personally when I had Jeff do the gurgling noises.
And I kind of how scary it was. You laughing at it and replaying it 100 times.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
You even named that audio file Jeff_gross.wave.
All those gurgling noises. It's tough to see like what videos have been played. That's definitely a match shot.
Yeah.
What videos have been played
What are you
more?
sighing for?
No, it was a great.
And there's the pelican inserted there, correct?
Yes.
I was actually going to comment on how much I liked the shot. But
I think actually that was you and me, Matt.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's complaining for nothing.
So
I wasn't complaining.
Yeah. Just your natural tone of voice sounds like a complaint.
Apparently, my natural face looks like I'm constipated too. Bernie comes up to me
You
4
can't
times a day and goes,
possibly
"What's wrong with you?"
constipate. Shit 10 times a day.
That's a good point.
yeah.
That's something to say forever on a DVD right there.
I'm actually taking a dump right now. This is a toilet.
It's impossible you don't have your laptop with you.
It's like I got one in front of me. This is where the commentary died.
I'm just noticing how we put the Blues outside their base in the exact same place we put the Reds because we killed the front of the Blue base with the Pelican. So we had to like move them just like we had to move the Reds outside their base. We spent no time in the base at all.
Sheila's blocking the way. They're concerned.
Well, you want to have a line of defense that before they get to the base, you can destroy them.
I like how you keep touching my butt, by the way. That's
Hey,
Hey,
That was a shot that we forgot to get. Do you remember that, Jeff? I think that was actually you.
I think Jesse wasn't here.
I think it was you and me.
Was it?
We did
Was
that
it your
one.
idea to go back and get it?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember that because it was, we shot the whole thing and we're like, done, and like we finished at like 3 p.m. or something, like ridiculously early. And then for some reason, just to go back and get that one shot, it ended up like the video didn't come out till like midnight.
Yeah, it was like, that added 7 or 8 hours.
I have no idea.
I don't
So
get
it's
it.
like,
It was some of the script you guys missed.
with just that one shot where Tex is in the foreground and the tank shoots and hits the back wall.
Oh, I remember that.
I don't know why, what happened, but it's like we shot that one shot and then like everything fell apart. Like we were having all the technical problems. That we went through a whole series of technical problems this year that we didn't normally have, and I guess it's growing pains upgrading to HD and stuff like that. But
and they got worse every episode.
they got worse. They got a lot worse. And like some episodes, like we just couldn't get anything to work for some reason. We would try to record and it was just like the machine would crash like just when you hit the record button. It would drive you crazy. And then by the time you get it back up, the game had ended or something, and it was just.
And then like the Xboxes started doing
The Xbox started doing a weird stuttering thing, and we had a whole lot of weird stuff happen this season.
I agree.
Boo-hoo.
This scene here with Sister's armor, with Sister being naked, was something we had a lot of fun with Sister being naked.
Because we convinced Becca she had to
Record
actually
naked.
record that way.
It was method acting. But I got asked at RVBTO, which is an event in Toronto for some of the fans that are on the community site, and went up there. And one of the people asked in the Q&A session was when we did Yellow Church in episode 100, when we put Yellow Church in all the way back in episode 50, did we know that we were going to introduce a yellow character and then later have Caboose mistake that yellow character for Church and have that be the origin? And I mean, this would be an example of no, we did not. We stuck in Yellow Church as a joke.
But you
And-
said
I said absolutely we did. No, but we didn't. We stuck in Yellow Church, and then this is something where sometimes in the writing you get fortunate, and this was an example where we did. There was lots of stuff where we did plan it very early on. What's that?
59 minutes, right there.
Okay. Matt wants me to write something down for him. But there's some stuff where we planned it well in advance and worked it out and threaded it through all the episodes. But we always knew we had to have something for Yellow Church. And when we introduced Sister, when we had to pick a character, we chose yellow because it felt to us to be the most between red and blue. Green felt very bluish. And yellow, while we felt maybe it leaned a little bit more red, at least it could be between them. Anyway, one of the other origins we came up with for Yellow Church was Church from the past comes forward in time and finds Sister's armor laying on the ground there and steals it and takes it back to Sidewinder. But we ended up not using that. We thought the Caboose thing was funnier, and we wouldn't have to show him coming back and forth or explain how we went back and forth in time.
Yeah, I actually really like the the other version of Yellow Church a lot, but it was once we looked at it, it was like to shoot the thing where Yellow Church comes out of Caboose's mind. It was like instantaneous, and it was like we're already shooting Caboose's mind anyway. It just made so much sense. And to shoot the other explanation would have been like adding like 10 minutes of story just for one joke. So
Yeah.
it didn't make sense.
You know,
Just time wise.
We talked about making a deleted scene and everything else. But it was fun writing, like, at this point in the series where it's like you had elements and pieces, and if you wanted to explain something, you'd like go back and look at all the elements and pieces you had, and what can you make out of all these different, story ingredients. It's a cooking metaphor. How you like that?
It's like a comedy souffle.
That was a souffle falling.
I think we changed this line of dialogue here at the end of this scene with Caboose as well for the DVD. Where the selection, I didn't make the selection for Caboose's line, and I thought he had a better one in there with the burr.
That's true.
Did he have a better one in there?
How about so?
Yeah.
We should change it.
It's probably a personal preference thing. We already
It's
changed
already
it.
changed.
You should listen to what I'm saying.
The ship sure looks good back there in the right place.
Okay, this is where we it's not. It's really not.
It's not.
That lightning bolt in the front of Sheila there. Remember that. And for a second, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Remember what?
The lightning bolt. Unless you guys are done talking, what you guys are mentioning
We've done
now.
this.
That thing we discovered in this season, and that changes all the time.
We never noticed it.
We
in the
never
past,
noticed
yeah.
that she has a logo. That the tank has a logo on it.
She got a bunch of logos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just randomly change, and that one in particular is a lightning bolt. I don't know why that
One
one
of
is so noticeable.
One of them's actually a scorpion.
Well, that is always on the tank, and it's on the back by
Yes.
the turret.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it?
It's
I
a
think-
scorpion tank.
I thought one of the logos on the front was a scorpion too at times.
It's possible.
I'm probably right here.
It's always got it on the turret. Though.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
probably. Jeff still hasn't learned where anything is on any map. I'm surprised he
I-
knows where Red
well,
Base is. And
That's
Blood
There's
Gulch.
the whole
ridiculous.
left, right
I know
issue,
where
so-
every weapon on Blood Gulch and Waterworks is.
No.
Yes.
And if
How
I
dare you? How dare you?
If I tell you to go places, you're like, "Where is that? I don't know what that is. What's Red Base? Where's the rocket?"
Well,
launcher?"
earlier today I was
ridiculous
shooting.
history.
I was shooting something in Waterworks, and I asked Jason and Jeff where a needler was, and I'm like going around with the guy trying to find the needler. And as soon as I see the needler, they both go, "There it is."
It,
Yeah.
In Jeff's defense, the direction you normally give him is like, hey, go to that hill. You know, the one with 2 bushes on it.
Go to where the blue
What?
teleporter comes out. What?
This is a grievous.
I tried to
Agreed.
I appreciate that.
Fuck, we go like Zanzibar, and I'm like, "Go get it. Where's the SMG on this level?" I have no idea. True story. Really true story.
There's an SMG on Zanzibar.
There you go. Relic. Anywhere's anything on Relic?
I know where everything on Relic is now.
All right. Well,
You're
we'll test
just-
this later. We'll bet some money and do this later.
I can't. We'll address this in the season 6.
Maybe it can be a special feature on the DVD. Jeff trying to find items on the map.
Hey Jeff.
Yes, sir.
What color's Tucker?
What color is that? Cyan.
Okay.
I'm not the one that got Tucker's color wrong. Don't even start.
That was actually me.
That was us.
We had a, but it's one of those questions we always have to ask ourselves.
Hey, let's we can talk about that shot.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that
we
was
should
the
talk about
first
the shot.
Banshee shot.
That was the
huh?
first Banshee shot, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We discovered between season 4 and 5 that if you place a character, like if a character jumps on a warthog or a scorpion or a banshee, while there's no one in it, like if he jumps on the hood of the warthog and then someone gets in the warthog, they'll actually that you can actually drive around with them on top of it for quite a long time as long as you don't take any sharp turns left or right, or in the case of the banshee, up or down too fast. So it allowed us to do a lot of like high angle shots that we wouldn't be able to do before, or like in the instance of that scorpion shot earlier, you could sit on the front of the scorpion and catch it while it's moving.
Yeah, I mean, going all the way back to season 1, one of the coolest things I ever saw was that overhead shot of Blood Gulch, which we used in the opening credits. Because to me, that was like a total. It's like, an allegory for what we do. It's like you're looking at the space we're so familiar with in a totally different way, which makes it seem like a really special view of it. And so super high angle shots, overhead shots in Blood Gulch, I always just really loved those a lot. And when we could actually start getting them with the Banshee, man, that was really cool.
And to get, really technical, if there's only 2 characters on the map, 1 character or 3 characters, the the guy, well, two characters, the guy flying the Banshee and then the camera on top of it, you can stay on the Banshee all day long no matter what you do. But if you put 7 or 8 characters in, he falls off.
Yeah, well, it's harder. I mean, you can't stay up there no matter what, but yeah, it's a lot easier.
It's really bizarre. Like, the number of players on map affects how well the camera can stand on the Banshee.
Yeah. And it's weird because that was in a game. I was with a matchmaking game, and guys stole a flag like that. Like, they put the guy with the flag on top of the Banshee. And that was a long time ago. And I was sitting there playing the game, and that's what eventually spurred the idea later. But at the time, I should have immediately recognized that as like, wow, we could put our cameraman on top of the Banshee and do that.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
I don't know.
You were just probably pissed off at those cheaters.
I know, I was like, fuckers. Super bounce. Glitchers. I like this scene with Donut.
Hey, who did that?
That IDE cable looks very familiar to me.
Yeah.
That was Nathan, I believe, right?
Good job, man.
The ignition coil, just to be sure. If O'Malley is in her somewhere, they aren't going anywhere without it.
You want me to hold it?
Are you kidding?
Well, thought it was worth a try.
Hey, Caboose, how's it going in there?
There is a featurette based on this.
So we shouldn't go into
shot. Actually, not that hard. I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's a lot of work, but not that hard. But we did an extensive... the reflection...
It was a little lag, a little behind.
Oh, shut up. The fuck
Dude,
do
that
you
was really good. What are you talking about? You have no idea how
It's
hard
at
that was to
it's
do.
at an angle. So that's what
Oh,
causes the
okay.
delay.
That
It's
explains
the light refracting.
Well, no, you're further away from the window than the character, so it takes time for the
the
reflection
light.
to reach you.
No, the angle.
Duh.
The angle explanation was better. You should have left Matt.
That was a joke.
You
I think-
sucked also.
Here's the return of Andy. He's lit up in this shot for some reason. He's not lit up in other shots.
He glows in the dark.
Oh, there you go. Must be the nitroglycerin.
To keep the bats away.
Oh, Matt.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Now that I watch, it's fine.
Matt always wanted to change that because he felt it was too confusing to have a flashback that leads to a present-day scene without some kind of effect. Like men growing long beards backwards and clocks winding in reverse.
The petals of a flower wither and die. It shrinks back into the ground.
Butterfly going into a cocoon.
Man turns into a baby.
We'll try to accommodate you in the future, Matt.
Please do. What you know you could do that would be perfect is just have Junior shrink some. That would be perfect.
But that could be the future when he
The
shrinks.
reverse passage of time.
I'm telling you, man, you don't know how the growth cycle works. They molt. First they
They
look
do
bigger.
molt.
As their skin dries out, it grows, and then they get out, and they're small again.
This is, you know what? Church always gets saddled with the exposition kind of stuff.
That's a writing thing.
You right?
Yeah. I just felt more comfortable like giving it to myself so I could blow through the exposition stuff. Yeah. I mean, who's gonna do it? Sarge? You know?
No, nobody else.
Andy
Can,
the
nobody else
Bomb.
can really do it.
Andy's mom had a couple actually. I shouldn't make that joke because he had a couple of things like he hinted at the Junior being the resurrected version of the previous alien.
Tucker had a lot of it towards the end.
Well,
That's
there was
right,
a lot,
the
there was,
last
see,
episode
that's the thing, there was
Tucker
a lot
had a
to cover too, wasn't there? Like, you know, you want to have just space for funny lines and things like that. But as the story progressed, you had to progress the story with lines. You know what I mean? And because there wasn't a whole lot that we could do, you know, visually. I mean, you know, they can't take an action like I don't know, you know, like actually do stuff that would progress the story, like and actually, you know, communicate it, like visit another location that is part of our story. We had to describe it, not show it. And a lot of this stuff, I was concerned about this because this tied into Out of Mind pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Phone's ringing, Gus.
When we were making this episode, I kept reaching for the phone every 5 seconds. I fucking hate that sound.
That is our phone in the office recorded.
It's just weird because when the phone normally rings, nobody actually answers it.
That's true.
Well, I was getting mad because no one was answering it, so that's why I kept reaching for it. Jerks.
This program being programmed to lie. I think that's a joke that was written in season 3.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
one of the original Gary character traits, I think.
He was
Right?
a liar, yeah.
Yeah.
And they just lied about random stuff for no reason. And it's there was a lot of stuff like that in the
There were
season.
like,
That were jokes we wrote like in season 1 that we pushed all the way back to that ended up using in season 5.
Yeah. I always had it. I remember like this from season 3, like the original idea of Andy and Gary. It was like they were more like a weird antagonistic buddy team, almost like Odd Couple, you know, where like Gary was this weird kind of like uptight liar for some reason, and Andy was, you know, like the Don Rickles, you know, like always making fun of him, like the the sloppy character. I don't even know the Odd Couple. So whatever the other guy's name was.
Felix.
Felix. He was the Felix Unger. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Felix Unger. There's some more beautiful Nathan work right there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the monitor, the Vic monitor.
Yeah. Oh, you know, we blew by Vic, the first appearance of Vic, without really talking about his change in expressivity.
Expressiveness.
What's the word? Yeah. Anybody? He's now got like a little facial thing going on,
And teeth.
and winking.
That was Matt. You developed that in the Donuts room.
That's a picture, by the way.
Wait, that picture's on my desk.
That picture, it goes by so fast you can't see it. It's a picture of Justin Timberlake that's actually framed and on Gus's desk. I don't know why there's a framed picture of Justin
I
Timberlake
think
on your
the
desk.
picture on my desk actually has a post-it note of a penis pointed at his mouth as well.
It has something to do with the... Justin Timberlake had something to do with the Star Rivers is Blue. I can't remember.
That's
It's
parody, by the way.
It's in the history on the website.
Oh, right. Because
When-
we all... this is embarrassing. Never mind.
They're big Justin Timberlake fans, is what it boils down to.
He's,
and who isn't?
he covered that Leaving on a Jet Plane and did such a good job of it.
I know, and we put that up on the MP3
It
on
was so good.
the old Drunk Gamer site. But I also like the fact we showed Donut's room. We had a chance here. This is a cool thing where we could show like other parts of the canyon through Vic's monitor that we had never shown before, like implied places in the base, like Donut's room, which was very neat, which I like too. I think Donut would be a very neat person.
Unlike
There's
Dan.
the Simmons line that had to change that you talked about earlier.
That was.
That is correct. That is correct. And here, the monitor, of course, doesn't exist in the shot. And so that green glow is a plasma pistol, a character standing right off screen with a plasma pistol.
Pointed to the ground.
And that smoke is a
Charging.
character right off screen.
Right.
Smoking.
Yeah, it is person smoking.
They're menthols. That's why it's green.
We lit a fire in the base. But the plasma pistol was kind of an interesting lighting tool to work with because we couldn't get too close to the camera with it because the plasma pistol, while it does have a cool green glowing effect, it also shakes and rumbles when you get too close to it.
When we started using that in Out of Mind, I believe.
Yeah,
Jinx.
Yeah.
and we use
We
it. We
left it at
use
that.
it 100 as well.
Jinx, you have any
I said
coke?
Jinx already, asshole.
Oh, damn. You, double coke.
This is what my life is like all day long in the office.
Poor you.
Boo-hoo.
I get to hang out with the two coolest dudes ever.
My name's Bernie. I'm drinking a beer and kicking Gus's chair.
Somebody get me another pita. I'm gonna eat you.
That was a Doc line that was added for the DVD. That little scene with Doc, because this was another place where the red scene went up against another red scene, but it was easy to go back to Doc and Sister and their disgusting diagnosis.
There's some.
Hey, this
There's
is.
a bunch of stuff from that whole recording session that's really inappropriate.
Is this gonna make it on the DVD?
I don't know. We might want to. This scene is one shot with 4 different characters talking at
It
random
goes for
times.
about 60 seconds.
And it's just Jeff and I doing the animations. And we planned out the scene and we trade the...
We took a look at it and decided it was impossible to do, and we'd have to call somebody in. But it was like midnight and everybody was asleep, so we thought, well, what the hell? We could give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we set it up. We planned it out. We had to. I remember each of us had to play all 4 characters at one point during that 60 seconds. So we were trading controls back and forth. So we sat down and we thought, well, let's film it and see if we get it. And we got it second take.
Did we?
Yeah, and we have film of it, and we thought about putting it
Yeah.
on the DVD.
It was so spur of the moment we filmed it. Right?
we were like, if we get this, we wanna.
It's great that you actually used it in the episode without cutting, because that would destroy the magic.
We did!
we did.
We did!
Anyway, we got it. It was fucking awesome, and nobody else in the world could have done
This is the scene with Junior in the trench, by the way. He's actually standing in the ramp that leads down the base.
He's a Muppet.
Frank Oz's hand is in there somewhere.
This is actually how I want to. I want to
Is
go
that
out.
how you wanna go out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have said in my will I don't want to be buried or anything like that. Just put me in a lawn chair in the back of a pickup truck and drive to the woods till I fall out, and then that's it. Then you're in the woods.
Cover you in fig Newtons.
Well, that's for religious reasons. I I don't know why I like the Church jokes so much about insulting Tucker's kid and Tucker never reacting to Church telling him that his kid's a maggot and slimy. But
There's something really funny about always calling him disgusting and gross and just like filthy and whatever. And because you never see him actually be gross or filthy or disgusting, he just looks like, you know, a little thing with shiny armor.
Yeah.
On.
Here's Tucker's wisdom of the few things he has to impart upon his son before he goes off and potentially dies.
Tucker imparts stuff everywhere.
And I feel pretty good about that list.
I feel great about that
Yeah.
list. Especially all the girls on the internet are actually dudes.
You learned that the
Which
hard
we-
way, didn't you, Bernie?
I did. Let's roll 1d20 and see how well I
Here's
like it.
another.
That's how we met Dan.
This is that really cool shot we were talking about earlier.
Oh,
That-
yeah.
There should be
That's a
Sarge's
big
grave
shot.
down there.
It's a banshee, yeah.
Yep.
I did that by myself.
He did. He had, that was actually Jeff flying the. Jeff would fly the Banshee and I would stand on top of the thing.
We tried the reverse of that, where I would film and you would fly
Yeah,
the banshee.
that's
We
horrible.
discovered that does not work.
No, it doesn't.
We're both definitely good at our roles.
I cannot do the head bobbing stuff. Like
Yeah.
occasionally I'll have to like take over and do some head bobbing stuff. I never feel confident about it at all. Well, because Jeff has weird things too, where Jeff will get in bad zones where you're like, gotta take a break. Because
That's
you
true.
just it's like you're not feeling it for that moment or whatever. Usually when we start, like
This is-
There's a subtle art to it.
there is.
There really is.
You end up looking low.
Well, you can't.
I can't. If I start going low, it's unsalvageable.
I wrote this scene specifically where Tucker gets a sniper rifle, simply because we had made the announcement that Red vs. Blue, the Blood Gulch Chronicles was going to end at episode 100, and we made the mistake of doing it on our anniversary, which is April 1st. So everyone assumed it was a joke.
We did that on purpose.
Well, no, we did not think that would be a joke. Like we didn't want people to think that it would be a joke, but we got so much email about it. Are you guys really going to stop at episode 100?
And so many people refused to admit it and said that it was a lame April Fool's joke, and we were really annoyed by that.
And we didn't want to like keep writing stuff about it and talking about it more and more. So I wrote the scene in so that people would like see Tucker getting the sniper rifle, and that's our first feeling of like, stuff's starting to wrap up here.
Episodes, shit's starting to happen.
Yeah, yeah, finally.
97 episodes. I think.
I love the idea of Sheila being, or the pelican being, just absolutely enormous inside.
It's like Doctor
Like-
Who's,
Kind of the
Yeah.
TARDIS.
Unrealistically huge.
and that's where on that design there on the monitor you can see at the bottom. It's one of the best shots of the name of the computer,
Right.
at the bottom of the monitor there,
The virtual intelligence computer.
version 20.
Somebody sent us an email about how this episode was fucked up because of that shot of Simmons.
Because it was too green?
It was too green. They didn't get that was a
Yeah, Simmons.
glow from the.
They informed us that Simmons isn't green. And yeah, it's just because Simmons is supposed to be standing so close to the monitor watching Naked Sister.
Sister isn't green.
That's
What is wrong with you guys?
So proud of this.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
See, this is where we poked fun at the continuity of the series, where it's just supposed to be goofy and dumb, and this flag comes out of nowhere, and they're singing, and it's actually Sarge singing while Sarge is talking, and the guys are like, where'd that flag come from? And forget the flag, who's singing. That was where we poked fun at, like, now we've got this series where there's all this continuity and, like,
Sarge-
there are rules to the series, that we just like said fuck it and just completely violated them all.
Sarge can do that. That's one of his bar tricks. They can sing while he speaks and also drink a glass of water at the
He
same
just
time.
has an MP3 of himself singing.
That's
He's playing
right.
it over the radio.
It's Simmons' Sarge impression.
And
So who's on
they're-
the left and who's
They're
on the right?
flipped again. that was us realizing we fucked up before and correcting it.
It just goes to show that they're not really dead. They just flop around in the afterlife.
It's true.
Or maybe some flowers.
Well, the
just come
ground
out.
shakes in Waterworks.
That's
That's
a good
true.
point. That's an
Yeah.
even better explanation. One of the best things about Red vs. Blue is to come up with ridiculous explanations of why it's not in violation of the continuity. You can always fall back on the old sci-fi excuse. Well, this is an alternate reality that they went into.
It's the future. They invented that device, you know, that...
Whatever machine.
Yeah,
The
the
whatever
whatever
machine.
machine. Fix it with line dialogue.
Here's the whatever machine.
It's funny too. It's like I worry about like that screen on the upper left. Those are the cannons in the beginning of Halo 2. They actually in the game Halo 2. Those like the cannons they have, the Earth defense cannons that get attacked at the beginning. And so I was like, I wonder if people are gonna like want to know what those things are, you know, or if they're like trying to figure out how we're gonna use those or anything like that. But eventually Jeff went out and said, no, they're fine.
They're penises.
It's totally fine. I just want to hear this.
You know, there's so many sister lines that are just like the outtake file on Sister is like it's like when I decide that there's no chance in hell that I'm gonna have a political career in my life, and Becca too. Well, then we can put that out.
I think it's illegal in 12 states.
There is some horrible stuff in there, just really bad stuff. There's some characters. I don't know what some characters that just have horrible ad-libbing, like and outtakes. She's one. If I recall correctly, Tovar was one from the Strangerhood.
Tovar
That's
was.
bad Tovar.
Yeah.
Tovar
You
was
just
playing.
allude to a Becca politics future?
I don't know. Would Becca go into
Let's
politics?
hope not.
The czar of shopping? I don't know what the fuck she's gonna do.
You know, I don't know. MySpace is getting pretty big. So there could be like a secretary of taking pictures of yourself in the bathroom mirror. You never know. Somewhere down the line.
Prime Minister of Camhorism.
But
Slut.
yeah. So there's another character. Sarge has had some bad stuff. Simmons always. The outtakes we can never play are just him always shouting the same thing every time.
Is that what I was talking about?
Donut.
Donut.
Every Simmons ad lib is addressed to Donut apparently, and you know it's just
Unrequited love.
I don't know. There's some bad ones. I can't think of any other ones that we had. There were some really bad characters that had some lines, but man, my sister was certainly one of them. An allusion to all of our lunch orders. Where do you want to eat? Oh, it doesn't matter. No, not there. Not there.
You mean all of Jeff?
Fuck you guys. What's just the just make fun of Jeff commentary?
Welcome to my hell.
Is that what?
Yeah, welcome to being Gus.
There you go.
Yeah, don't forget we had an 18-minute commentary devoted to Jeff or Gus in the middle of the season.
That's true.
What was that? What was that wonderful that zinger joke you came back with? Why don't you sell your car? What was it? I forget now.
I don't even remember.
Well, we did a
It's on the
comment.
DVD somewhere.
Well, maybe not though. We don't know if we're gonna be able to put that
We'll
in.
put it on. We'll put it on.
But it's potentially 12 minutes of black.
Of hilarious,
you know.
hilarious black. What are you, racist?
Oh please, listen to you. Oh, it's gotta be black.
Busters.
Another stab at the continuity. And this is the stuff that we used for the the visual technique that we used for 1-800 Magic, right, Matt? This
Yeah,
is where-
same thing. Vic was way easier, and I think we did the first Vic, and we're like, man, this is great. He just sits in the same place all the time. We can just do this; it'd be easy. And then when we did 1-800 Magic, it was like all those characters moving around, doing crazy stuff, turning their heads and jumping up and down all the time, and I let Nathan do most of it. Long story short.
Long story short, Nathan's been very busy since he signed.
Yeah,
on
that's-
with
can you
you.
write that one down? This scene in particular, with the echoing and Simmons going back down to the canyon. We were on our way out of Waterworks, Jeff. I swear. They were walking out.
Yeah.
And I put this scene in, or wrote this scene, because Matt felt there was a little bit of a battle where I don't want to like reveal everything we've set up. I feel like we've set up the entire story. You can figure out exactly what was going on. You can figure out the whole red and blue thing. You can figure out the whole alien thing with everything we put in there. But we didn't necessarily explain everything. But we put everything in there that you need to know to figure this stuff out. And Matt told me he thought we needed one more scene with more about Vic, about like who is Vic and what exactly is Vic. And so I said, okay, we put that scene in.
And then Matt went home for the night.
That's right.
Then we made that scene.
And I took a long nap.
And with that sound effect, we added another sound, like a standard sound effect to the library in this season, which was the that monitor sound effect for the transitions that Nathan made. Okay, here's over the course of all 5 seasons, what was your favorite individual sound effect?
I know what yours is.
I know what mine is too. I always talk about what mine is.
Actual sound effect,
Yeah.
not made by a human being.
I think
I
I'm
mean,
a person.
I don't know what that means.
I mean, because if a sound effect made by a human being, it would be that.
Matt, I'm sorry.
I
This
like-
is the favorite sound effect non-human category.
Non-human
So,
category.
I like
please wait your
dropping
turn.
Andy in
Yeah,
season 3.
that's exactly what my favorite
Yeah,
was.
because that was us in your front yard at 4 in the morning
With a weight.
with
Yeah.
a weight dropping it into the dirt.
No,
and
but you remember,
recording it.
it was
I was glad you used the weight though.
before the
For
weight.
something.
We went through about 10 different things. We dropped like a wrench on the driveway, and
Birdie's kid, our careers.
I also like the pop, the church
Ta-da!
popping.
Oh,
up.
that. Ta-da! That was in the gadget one. We used that for Wyoming too.
What's yours? Yours the. What is yours?
Mine
this
is
is
by
the radio tuning in.
absolutely.
Yeah, you love that radio.
Whenever that radio clicks on and tunes in, I absolutely love that sound effect.
Too bad we didn't use it more.
All the way back from season 1. I just think it was like one of those things. It's not in the game, you know. It's one thing we established like with Red versus Blue, where you know that's the radio communication. You know, it's more than just a little sound effect.
Where are you going, Gus?
I gotta go pee.
Alright.
Didn't bump the mic.
All right, what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna run through some questions that we got from the group, from people on the site that asked us to specifically talk about some things.
Oh, interesting.
Casting Sister. We already talked about Casting Sister.
We did.
And about we didn't talk about all of it, but some of it isn't appropriate to talk about. Mention why we did Out of Mind, and who played York, etc. Okay, well he's actually in the credits. York, the character from Out of Mind, the freelancer character from Out of Mind, is played by Sean Dugan, a guy who was in a movie that Matt and I produced back in college. It's actually how Matt and I met, was to make that movie. And this is the scene with the reflection. And we crowd everyone in that one little light in the middle of the pool here. As best we can, because we weren't going to do the lighting effect. To do the lighting effect here,
Lighting trick was hard because you had to go way outside to get to it.
it'll walk all the way to the middle
Also-
of the map.
We couldn't get it to work very well inside the cave.
We had trouble that day for some reason.
Yeah. It's weird. Some days are better than others. I remember one episode this season, we didn't have a problem with the lighting trick at all. And, like, we could actually move characters and the lighting trick stayed. People would die and come back and the lighting trick was fine. And that's certainly not usually the case.
A lot of it has to do with exploiting the game itself, and the game will turn down some resources, some of like the background, like really high detail stuff. Even Halo did that as well, where you couldn't have infinite grenades if you had more than 4 players, and it's just a function of gameplay.
Or,
where
like, you get 3 shadows.
Yeah.
And if you had a 4th character and he doesn't have a shadow, that kind of stuff.
We know a lot about the Halo series. Yeah, we spent a lot of time.
Way
in it.
too much.
And yeah, there's as you add more players in, you don't want to you want to keep the frame rate up. I guess I don't know, intermittent game. I don't know, but it seems like you want to like turn off some features that aren't going to affect the overall aesthetic, and yet still maintain the performance of the game.
Totally makes sense. So did we answer that question about York?
So
why did we make Out of Mind?
So Sean Dugan was in the schedule, and it's how Matt and I met. Was we worked on a movie in college together, and I was a computer science student, he was a film student, and we got together to make this movie, and we literally met to make the movie. And we just moved offices, and we found a bunch of the old film canisters from that movie.
There's only 30 minutes left of the season, by the way.
Okay, thanks, bud. And then we did Out of Mind because they wanted us to do something for Xbox Live Marketplace, something cool. We thought it was a cool way to test the waters and do like a summer series.
And we had this text idea that we didn't know necessarily was going to fit into season 5.
Yeah.
So it was a little more serious.
Yeah.
And wanted to explain some of the backstory stuff.
And it was also a good opportunity to test out our HD stuff.
Very much
It was
so.
the
Yeah.
first stuff we
We
filmed in
just-
HD, yeah.
Just got the HD equipment, and Marketplace obviously has HD, downloads. So that was
Did you have your tinkle?
good on technical and artistic levels.
And
they
well,
paid, they paid us $80 million, right, to do it?
Yeah,
Something like
yeah,
that,
pretty
yeah.
much.
80 million Turkish lira.
They also want to know why were there. Let me see. Why were there 3 endings? We'll come back to this. Why was it a good idea to end at 100? We kind of already talked about that. Differences between shooting, writing, and editing between seasons 1 and 5. I like that question. Differences between character voices and styles between 1 and 5. Challenges of time travel stuff in 97. We'll wait till we get to that.
Challenges, I like
So let's
that
talk
one.
about differences between season 1 and season 5, either shooting, writing, and editing. We talked a little bit about that with the continuity stuff. We had to address the continuity a lot more. We couldn't do an episode in season 5, which was hey, the Reds get a new vehicle, let's just sit around and talk about the vehicle, because the characters are so weighed into each other that there's more to do there in a conversation than just talk about the vehicle. And plus we've shown all the vehicles, so they can't interact with it in a new way. Differences between character voices and styles between season 1 and 5.
Well, I think the biggest difference would probably be Sarge.
Yeah, Sarge.
He evolved a lot over the years.
Caboose got dumber.
Also, as far as editing, like if you go back and watch an episode of season 1, very popular with the fans, but it's hard for us to watch internally because we've become a lot better at editing. I think
it's just faster.
It's way faster. And you watch an episode of episode 1, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Good.
Yeah, pretty good.
What are you doing?
I don't think there's any dead air in episodes anymore in season 5.
No, episode.
Yeah, I saw something recently where a character had to turn around, and just the time it took the character to turn around to respond to somebody else, I was like, man, that feels like a year and a half to me. You know?
Yeah. And I've actually caught myself cutting stuff too fast where characters talk over each other all the time. I have to go back and take it out. So,
that's something I noticed in season 2, in this season as well, is that, man, some of the early cuts, it's like, this is too fast.
Yeah.
But we had to go back and slow stuff down. Yeah. Jeff does a lot of the dialogue editing. In fact, pretty much all of it. I mean,
Jason does some too.
You're the majority of it. Yeah, but I don't do that. That's one of the things that you took over from me from the early days was that he would do all the audio cutting at the beginning, like selecting the audio files from the raw files. It's a big stage. It was probably one of the most tedious phases, I would say.
Certainly the least exciting.
Wrapping up 5 seasons worth of storylines, even small ones like Yellow Church. We kind of talked about that. I mean, we started packing stuff in episode 100 just so we could do it all at once and do reveals and not
make 100th episode feel like a big episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mentioned changing stuff from the past, making it fit. We talked a little bit about that with Yellow Church stuff. What about? And then here is tell me how I'm awesome in the commentary. So you're awesome. You know who you are. Future project Halo 3, etc. Yeah, we did get a chance to work in Halo 3 during the beta period and make a cool beta video for Xbox Live Marketplace. Awesome. I mean, I don't know how much of the stuff we can really, talk about.
Well, we've actually made a few Halo 3 videos at this point. It was a Zune video that's already out now.
Yep.
And
the video for the Legendary Collection.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, but the main thing is we're not all tired of doing this stuff. I mean, we love doing this stuff. And
sitting down and for the first second you and I sat down and started filming in Valhalla, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there's so much fun stuff. We get so much fun stuff doing the man cannon jokes.
Yeah.
In fact, that didn't make it in the Halo 3 beta video. The missile pod joke that we did, the water joke that we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they love that joke too, the man cannon one.
We'll find a way to.
Yeah, the man cannon. What is it, Donuts line?
I haven't been to man cannon since college.
God. But it's a lot of fun stuff. We did some really fun stuff for the Legendary Collection too, which is some live action stuff. We do want to do some more live action stuff, but it's going to be a big jump before we do anything that's primarily live action, I think.
I think it's obvious that these faces need to be on TV.
Absolutely.
They need to be in the forefront.
Yeah, because we're the most photogenic bunch you can imagine.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we did a thing for the Legendary Collection that was live action. That was a lot of fun.
It was. Yeah. It was a lot of fun for you.
Oh yeah.
Not so much fun for me.
Jeff got a little beat up.
You'll see.
Spoilers. Harry Potter dies. I don't even know. This is 2 days before the Harry Potter book comes out, right? And Jeff is avoiding Harry Potter spoilers.
It comes out Friday, yeah. Book 6 got ruined for me on our website by some dickhead.
Yeah,
who got banned for life.
Really? That's amazing. I did the same thing. I read Star Wars Episode 2. I read just a random post in the net, and I clicked on it and opened it, and it was I read it was 100 item list of spoilers from the movie.
And you read the whole thing?
No, I read the first 5. I didn't even know what I was reading. What am I reading?
It takes you a second to realize.
Yeah. Oh, and then your brain registers it, and you're dead. And then the other thing they asked is why were there 3 endings, which we'll talk about, I guess, during the endings. Oh, here's poor Caboose dying.
We wanted that to be really serious. I thought we did a good job of that.
What, Caboose dying?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you think he's really dead.
Yeah.
Well, the thing here, and then this is the point, this is the time travel point. We had a couple episodes, well, 2 exactly, where we had points that we had to keep coming back to. Episode 100, where we had the break-off point where all the 3 endings take place. Mm-hmm. And then this one where the time travel where everything resets from a certain point. And so this one was, I think, fairly difficult because we had to set up the characters over and over again in a specific position and match them, even if they were back on the base.
Yeah.
If you play it frame by frame, you can see Well, frame by frame is how we did it. We put the frame up of the previous shot, and then we would painstakingly get them all in the same place.
Or as close as we could.
And there were actually there was one sequence that was a really good alternate take, or a couple of really good alternate takes of that wide shot, right? Not this one, but the next cut like that.
Uh-huh.
That we couldn't decide which one to go with, and I don't even remember actually which one we ultimately ended up using, but it would be nice to show those at some point too.
There was also another iteration of the time travel here where they loop around, where Tucker goes through the first time and knows what's going on, but we cut it out to make it more confusing. So that the first time we see them going through the iteration, it's Tucker's second time, and he's already ahead of the audience of
Or it's at least Tucker's second time.
At least Tucker's second time, right. So that he's been through it at least one more time. But he says this is just like last time.
And this is where Tucker, kind of in my mind, becomes like the Lando Calrissian of Red vs. Blue. Where he's really kind of like the unsung hero here. He takes care of all the Wyomings and doesn't get any credit. Much like Lando blows up the Death Star in Return of the Jedi, and everybody's like, oh, Luke fought his dad. Always pissed me off.
Did it really?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Well, Lando blew up the fucking Death Star, dude. Where's his credits?
Second
Where's
Death
his
Star.
ticker tape parade?
It may have sent you even further to know that my 5-year-old refers to him as Lando Calzone. So
This is the shot I was talking about.
yeah.
That just made me sound like a nerd.
I'm waiting for this.
Yeah,
cut
that
here.
made you sound like
Yeah.
a nerd.
That sucks.
So okay.
Yeah.
So
And then the other one was we had a tank explosion, tank shot right at the cut, and it kind of cut to the next shot. It
right.
was very kind of disturbing. You couldn't really exactly figure out what happened at first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they were both good cuts.
And that was really cool, too.
But the thing with Caboose dying, this goes back to that original thing we talked about earlier, where we wanted. This is Matt here.
That was a
that did
good,
this.
great job with the smoke there.
This is actually the sword actually would go through a person.
And there's another instance of quitting the game right there.
Oh, yeah?
Frames, yeah.
Yeah, we did a thing too. When we didn't talk about when the tank rolls up. We actually did it reverse because it was the lighting trick. But the shot when Caboose dies, it was very careful that he died in an episode, and that we revealed in the same episode the time travel thing, that the looping that Wyoming was doing, because we were getting close to the end of the season. We didn't want to have a cliffhanger where that would be an obvious place to have one of our cliffhanger endings. Oh shit, they killed Caboose, everybody's favorite character. But I didn't want to have that and then come back the next week and say, oh, it's all time travel thing, because then you get the feeling like it's fake. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to fake people out.
Here's another thing where we talk about how, as we continue to film with this series, we continue to learn things about the game, even this far into it. If you look there, all the Wyomings, some of them are slightly different colors because we applied the lighting trick in different places, and we learned with a white character that the lighting is different in different parts of the map, and he'll appear slightly yellow in some and more white in others.
It carries with
It's
it.
not, yeah, it carries with them, and it's not static.
And you read stuff.
And we actually had to keep redoing a couple of guys because they just looked
You mean
very different than the others.
You mean it is static?
Well, I mean, it's not like there's not one light and
I
one
understood
dark.
what you meant.
Yeah, there's many different degrees.
By the way, this is a great point in time to talk about how awesome Ed is.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
Listen,
it was
doing
hard to do the selects on him because every take was awesome.
Doing his selects are so pleasant.
Yeah.
I enjoy hearing his voice.
He does have a pleasant, a super
does,
pleasant
yeah.
voice. Yeah, it's really easy to listen to.
Guys, he's not gonna fuck you.
You don't know. And here's episode 99 where Bernie
You know
went
what
on
else is
vacation.
Canada.
And Nat
Well
Nice
done,
Pick.
maple syrup.
And salmon jerky.
Yeah,
which
salmon jerky.
Bernie brought back from RBBTO. You know, this text is all lit up there.
I noticed
That
this
was
is
a
Well,
Matt
she's-
said,
no, that
fuck
was-
that.
No,
She's in
that
the
was
shadow.
very intentional. She's in the shadow. She's hiding. That makes sense.
she's hiding from the light.
That's how everybody sees her. She's in the shadow.
Yeah, it's fine.
You could have made her
You're
invisible.
not, you're not sneaky.
That's another way she could hide. Is by being
Yeah, fuck
invisible. That would take work. Yeah, this was I had planned a vacation, and my vacation came right at episode 99.
And to your credit, you planned the vacation at least 2 months after the end of Red vs. Blue, and it just...
Yeah, we extended and extended,
Yeah.
and things kept going on. We like the idea. I like the idea of ending Red vs. Blue in the summer, having Red vs. Blue in the summer, because that's
Yeah.
when season 1 was in the summer. And I always like that. You know what I mean? And this is where we're like starting to have some of the characters kind of like wrap up with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you get
Final
to
words.
Yeah, you get to exactly. When is so and so going to talk to so and so for the last time? And they're not even on the same map.
Yep.
They're just
It's long
liars.
goodbyes.
They wouldn't even show up on the set at the same time anymore by this point in the series.
It's the magic of
I
editing.
couldn't deal with him.
They had creative differences.
I get, Matt, you'll be happy to know, I do get a lot of compliments about the shot. And I do take credit for it even though you guys did it and I wasn't here. The shot here.
Part of this was just trying to frame it so that we wouldn't have to put the ship in there.
It's true. That was the
That
the
Paul
magic of
Marino
Paul
work there?
Marino
Paul
right
did
there.
that little uncoiling cable. And this too right here.
That's a great thing about Paul is you call him and you say, hey, can you do this shot? Like, for instance, we need a bunch of cables, and then they, like, some sort of a device that connects in the back of the tank, and he goes, yeah, give me 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and then he's got it.
exactly.
And then how the hell did you
He really
do
is a
that?
very talented
It
guy.
was like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. on the East Coast where he is.
On, like, a Thursday
know.
night,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's like, oh, I was just going to bed, but I'd love to do that. And there you go.
There it is.
Well, how many times have we talked about over the course of the series? I mean, when you write for this stuff, they can't use their hands for anything.
Yeah.
They're just, unless it's like raising a gun or anything. I mean, think about writing something. They can't type something. They can't open something, you know, and whatever. And there's an example where you always talked about in season 1. When you first saw Vic, it was so refreshing to you because you saw a face.
Yeah.
And for me, like that shot of Tucker plugging in the thing, it's like he's using his hands for something. That's
Yeah.
amazing to me. You know what I mean? I can't remember. What was the last thing that somebody used their hands for?
We don't want to talk about
Yeah,
it.
we couldn't
Yeah.
show that.
Behind Tucker's rock.
But I really can't remember the last time somebody used their hand for something. Like there was an animation I don't think we ever really used, which was if you-
Carrying Andy,
if
if
you-
that counts.
Well, yeah, carrying Andy, I guess, but that's in the game, yeah. But there's an animation with the plasma pistol where if you melee with the plasma pistol, sometimes they will punch. But we never use that, you know, at least not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had him beat on stuff a lot.
Well, that shot was intended to be a reference
Yeah.
to the Reds doing the same thing
in
at the end of...
77, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we shot the hell out of that jump. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Now this shot we had to shoot, I kind of like wanted to frame this more centered, but we couldn't because we kept getting the Enter Warthog message on the top left. We had to paint it out later.
Yeah, this is where we're pretty heavy into like playing with stuff that
And
happened.
Simmons dies right at the end of that shot. Right there.
Yeah.
And Sarge dies in this shot, and this shot, and this shot.
Yeah.
And this shot.
Yeah. That sequence from the Warthog jump to that was about 7 hours of filming, I
Yeah.
think.
I was drinking beer on a beach somewhere
Yeah.
during all that, just so y'all know. But this is like the reference of Simmons calling him cracker, the whole Dutch-Irish joke. I mean, it's once again like we're playing with all the stuff of, you know, the series and everything we'd established and kind of like tearing some of it down a little bit at the end. I think it's kind of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Like Tucker's a girl. I don't know if that came through. This is how he had a baby. Duh.
And here's Tucker's long exposition.
You know, I mean, we're right at episode 99. It's like we gotta set some, you know.
Let's just get through it.
The feeling that we had to reveal some of it. I mean, some of it got to reveal. I mean, you're not going to infer the fact that, you know, they had a plot against the aliens to take over the race. Or maybe you would. Who knows, man? I've heard some people come up with some pretty dead accurate stuff without too much information on the internet, so. And some not so accurate stuff.
He's right. This is Freelancer Tex broadcasting on Open Channel.
Tex, what are you doing?
You
We
want
search and search for her to say an open channel.
We have it. We can go back and fix it.
Yeah. No, it's there. It's there.
Is it?
Right
Okay.
there. And this is episode 100. This is the very start of episode 100.
I love this caboose line coming up.
Added after the
It was a
fact.
complete add-in. As we were
Yeah.
filming it, Bernie came up with it.
Yeah. I love the Warthog dashboard. I've always loved the Warthog
Yep.
dashboard. And, like, yeah. And, like, that motion there of Griff turning to look, too, it's like every time there's a new kind of animation or anything, it's fresh. That's a Banshee shot that we sped up
Yep.
and matched with the old O'Malley sound effect of him transmitting himself. And this is where, this is completely a joke that was written in season 2 that we just held as, like, kind of recognized that it would be, like, a big moment for the series with O'Malley infecting everyone. And we have this, the evil character who
We've
can
been talking
infect
about this
anybody.
forever.
Yeah. And, like, what would every character be like if they got infected by O'Malley, you know?
There's a couple things that have been like signature moments in Red vs. Blue that I knew were gonna be great when you first started talking about them, and it seemed like you came up with the idea like a long time in advance, and like we were all talking about it forever, and like almost got to the point where are we ever gonna shoot that? I guess not. Like, and then it was like, then it appeared and it was like, you know, everything coming to fruition kind of thing. Like the doesn't seem physically possible joke. Like I remember like way early, like I mean that wasn't even very far into the series. That was like what episode 10 or
Yeah.
And I remember like one of the first couple episodes, you said, "Hey, there's a skull, and I have this thing." Guys, and it's like this doesn't seem physically possible joke. You were laughing about how funny it was gonna be. And I was like, "That sounds great." And then we're just going along, and suddenly it's like, "Oh, there it is." And the episode is like, it came in. It's great to see those ideas and like talk about them, and like then after a while like, they actually come together. It's amazing how well they come after just kind of like letting them gestate, you know, for a while.
Yeah, it's fun to see that stuff too. Like especially when you guys like when like there was 2 or 3 episodes this season where you directed the episode. It's like it's interesting how it like comes across like some of the stuff we talked about, and it comes across like how you see it. Oh, that's a hard shot for you, right, Matt?
Yeah, those are impossible.
Nathan did the monitor, but then Matt did the compositing of like having him walk up and cutting out Simmons in motion walking up to that thing.
Doc.
Oh, sorry, Doc. Sorry.
Shouldn't you try to help this guy? What?
You didn't do a good job. I thought it was.
Yeah.
Those
I
a
used
bit of
to-
trivia. Those aliens walking down the hallway in the screen was the last shot we ever did.
That's
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's
right.
very good point. That's true. We had to
Known
go
as
back and do that. Yeah.
As the martini.
The martini.
I believe.
Yeah. I remember we had a bunch of last shots. We would go. We got kind of sentimental. We're like, okay, that's the last shot we'll ever do. And then Matt would go, I need this. And we'd go, okay, this is the last shot we'll ever do.
The
And
weirdest
that was
part is
like
that-
the 4th last shot.
Yeah,
we
that
ever
was
did.
the actual.
But it
last,
actually
last
was the
shot.
last shot. Yeah.
What felt like the last shot? It was Caboose getting hit by the ghost. Felt like the last shot.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
At
was
the end of the fight.
The last ending we did. And
Yeah.
What's weird is that Jeff kissed me on the mouth after every last shot.
I only cupped his balls
I
in
think
the
it's-
actual last
Yeah.
shot.
I gave Jeff a last shot in every last shot.
Oh man, I can't tell you how much I love the Griff getting killed all the time.
Yeah.
And this was
that's
something that we
fun.
also played with too, where this is something we played with a lot, where we never really like shot Griff, you know, or anything like that. We always
Yeah.
insinuated they were gonna beat him to death or something like that. But here he's just getting shot over and over again in this episode. Because this last episode we could do it, and we didn't have to answer the questions like, well, how did Griff get shot and not die? You know, 3 times.
Here comes the gurgling. Actually, pretty close.
Yeah, it's a. And the only character we didn't infect was Tucker, because we couldn't figure out how do you take Tucker's character, the funny things about Tucker's character, and make them evil and aggressive without being like horribly offensive. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Donut got to be like the. Here it is.
Here's the gurgling.
I've never seen that animation before or since in a Halo. Even playing a guy rolling around the ground holding his throat. But
Texas
Evil
signature.
Tucker could have done that too.
that was where we actually got to use something there that would plague us, you know, for the last 2 seasons, which is when you got close to the warthog, it would bounce, like
Yep.
make that look like the dust cloud, and it would bounce, and we'd have to stay away from it while shooting.
I remember it was especially bad on burial mounds.
It was a
Yeah,
dusty
it was.
one.
So it felt, well, that's when
Yeah.
we discovered it, so it felt really bad. What
That was a lot of fun to do.
we got to use the Hika joke again.
Yeah.
I was really happy about that. And there's always been instances all along in Red vs. Blue, going all the way back to being, you know, first episode and being allowed to do this stuff in the first place, where we just got unbelievably fortunate. And here's a great case where they put out the Caboose's Mind map, which is Hang 'em High. They put it out for Halo 2 like 3 weeks before we shot this episode.
Yeah.
And it wasn't out for, you know, Halo had been out for 2 years at this point. Halo 2 had been out for 2 years. And then this map, bang, they put it out just in time for us to be able to use it. And that's just unbelievably fortunate.
There's that sound effect.
Yeah. This is one of the things I would say that this is one of the things that we personally, as a group, always liked a lot. That we never really felt the audience responded well to, but we wanted to revisit it. And that was the Caboose's Mind stuff.
You gonna go pee now, Jeff?
I'm gonna go pee. Yeah. Daddy's gonna pee.
And so I think we were all pretty happy to use it. Matt doesn't like this part because he thinks that Donut getting in the ghost and flying away here from shot to shot. Like he gets on it now.
Oh
it's fun,
yeah,
right?
that was one of those things that looked totally weird to me.
It's actually shot in real time, and we cut away, so he actually does make the turn and go around. So.
There's another that happens a lot. It seems like with this game, like there's stuff that doesn't look right, like kind of happens off screen or whatever, and then when you actually do it, that's in real time. That was actually legitimate. I remember when we were first setting up for one of the shots in episode 38, where they go into the teleporter, and me, you, and Jeff were arguing about their body posture and where they should be facing to go into the teleporter, and you were like, he's facing totally the wrong way. See if I go forward, and you went, whoop, and you went right in the teleporter, and teleported, we had to reset up. Everything had shot, but it was one of those things like it looks wrong for whatever reason. That stuff happens all the time.
Yeah. So it was. I think we just love revisiting this stuff, the Caboose's Mind stuff.
I love the Caboose's Mind stuff.
Yeah, I was glad to hear Lady Donut again in a Red vs. Blue episode.
But yeah, your favorite character, I think, is Lady Donut. That's my wife plays Lady Donut.
She contributed some excellent ad libs from what I remember from the first time we did this back in season 2.
I like pretty dresses and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And the cool thing was the way they designed the map too. It like fit. Once again, being extremely fortunate, it fit the Caboose's Mind is kind of falling apart thing after O'Malley left. But before it was very clean and everything, and now it's like all rusted and like it's more like kind of a dirty factory. And this was the introduction of Yellow Church, where this is where Yellow Church comes from, is basically a mistake by Caboose. That ends up going back in time from one of the dying Wyomings. And this was actually like a creative difference that we had like late, where Matt really did not want to do this. And
it wasn't so much that, I mean, it's a good, like, it's clean, it's neat, it makes sense. What I was worried about was that people would feel that Yellow Church, who everybody had been wanting to know about, who was Yellow Church and what was his journey, that it would somehow be undercut by him not being real, in a sense. He's a figment of Caboose's imagination.
And I felt that, he's already tied to, he is church, he's a church character. And so I felt he was already that, and it was fun to tie him into another, he's a minor character. He's a tiny
character.
character, a cameo character. So it's fun to tie him into one of the other major characters, and who doesn't love Caboose? I mean,
And then eventually Bernie convinced me by keeping the controller away from me so that I could
No, I give it to you because Jeff was with me going, no, it's fine, we've already shot it.
That's 100% true. I was like, Matt's retarded, let's just do this. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we're hour and 52 minutes in, no train.
No train, yeah, we're in a new office with no train. So, and no Joel Hayner, we got rid of that guy. I want to point out something that I've never mentioned before, but technically, Church has a sword that works now because he had it when he came out of
Caboose's Mind.
But he popped him out with the sniper rifle. Even though he had the sword when he popped out. But here's another like play on continuity is the Andy joke. We set up that Andy was heavy, and that's why Caboose had to carry him. Because only Caboose or Sarge can carry him in the game. Well, there's some other characters, but mainly a red or blue character has to carry him. And then we established that anyone could carry him later because he had lost weight.
Been working out.
Nobody says booyah. Did he say booyah there?
No, you didn't say booyah. You said awesome like a fucking... It was. I think you wrote booyah in the script, and then you had that ad-lib of the Jedi, and I put that in.
Oh, okay.
You said that was funny.
Yeah, Church, even revisiting like some of the jokes like back in season 4 where now Church wants to say booyah at every possible opportunity.
You did say booyah to Wyoming when Sheila rolls up.
That's what booyah.
98. Booyah, motherfucker.
That's what I was thinking of. It wasn't in that one.
Joel actually pees his pants.
A lot.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Man, Joel was such a trooper over the course of the 5 seasons where, you call him up at like 5 and say, hey, could you give you lines by 8, And so his performances of Caboose were done totally on the fly sometimes.
It would always be like 10 o'clock on a Friday night to us is 10 o'clock working on the episode, but Joel's like 8 o'clock. eating dinner at Kilo Shrimp or whatever, and we're like, hey, we need lines in 15 minutes.
He's like, okay.
And you could hear him say, check please on the phone.
Yeah. So it was really good.
We went by real quickly there with the yellow shirt stuff. One of my favorite parts was using the old 8-bit kind of style music that Nico did for back it was episode 49.
Yeah,
is that right?
50 and 49. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he zaps in.
It's
And
final appearance.
Ed actually did that audio for us, like in, was he in Italy or somewhere when he did that?
No, he was leaving to go somewhere,
Oh, okay.
and he did it before he left. But he did it like 4 months before the episode.
That's true, yeah.
And so did Sheila. Like we rapped with Ed and we rapped with Sheila.
We actually brought
Yo
Yo Mary down to the office.
Yeah, which was one that she'd never been down to the office
She'd
before.
never been here, yeah.
And she never wants to come back.
She changed her phone number and now we can
That's
talk.
right.
Yeah, and like I mean, it was so funny because we're so not used to doing audio in advance. Like I had like half conversations with Sheila just in case so it could fill in the gaps later.
So we
Like,
just said, make sure you say affirmative and negative a lot.
Yeah.
We'll just plug that in.
yeah, we can build a conversation around it. Like, what do you mean? And I think I understand what it is that you are talking about. I really like the feminist of it. I like that a lot.
I like the extreme close-up here, like the Halo PC O'Malley days.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got so happy about that Halo PC Zoom that we can use other times.
This part actually, even though I was there and I made it, when I watched it for the first time, I get kind of the oh shit butterflies when.
Do you guys notice that
Oh, no,
Sarge's shotgun
Dolly's in.
goes through camera on this?
Yeah.
Hey, it's
You think we should change that?
No, what? That's retarded. That's
Jeff's fine. Jeff says it's good. Leave it in.
it's part of the charm.
It was fun to have the old characters like Caboose and
Yeah.
Doc do their O'Malley voices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is it right here.
Somebody's phone's ringing. I'd be like quiet all of a sudden when I watch this.
Yeah, I was watching this.
Oh,
But this leads up
it's
to
dramatic.
this leads up to the Omega Voice, which is the text voice filter. That was Relic. Yeah, that was Relic running
Real
up.
tight shot on Relic.
And this is Paul Marino that did all this stuff.
It's fantastic.
Like I couldn't believe we could even pull off that forced perspective shot. Worked
Right
great
there,
everywhere. It
yeah.
worked there too. And this is our split off point for the three endings at the end of this thing. But where was I going with that? I forget. I'm sure it wasn't important.
Probably
We'll
not.
do the next commentary. So why 3 endings?
Why 3 endings?
Why 3 endings?
Why not?
The reason why we did 3 endings, and we talked about it a lot, was we distributed our stuff on the internet, and it's a unique opportunity that you can't really do this in any other way. Like surprise people with like a randomness to what they're watching, and you can't do it on TV. You can't really do it in film. I mean, in radio or anything. I mean, you have one version of it, and you put it out there, and this is something unique and cool that we could do, and so it was fun to do it and put the alternate versions in.
And it was an idea we'd had for a long time.
Yeah. We toyed with all the different endings of what we wanted to do. We have like the big one was we thought, what did people want to see? And we had a really weird thing where The Sopranos ended right before we did these episodes.
Yep.
And so there was a lot of discussion about how stuff ends and how something is ended. And there was a lot of like fervor over that ending. You know what I mean? And people didn't like. Some people really loved it. Some people didn't really love it.
I loved it.
And I loved it too.
It was
I loved
great.
It was great.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that over time people will like it, But
Yeah.
people put a lot of weight to the ending of something being in a certain way, and this was like, I think we've all been a part of something where you liked it. You know what I mean? It was like a piece of media that you were watching or reading or whatever, and when you get to the ending, there's that feeling of like I'm witnessing the end of it. And it's like as you get the last like 10 pages of a book you really like, and you're like here it comes, here it comes, here it comes, and that feeling, and then there's like a weird feeling afterwards, and we wanted to give something to the audience where they could kind of like recreate that. You know what I mean? Like. There's also that feeling when you finish with something, you're like, God, what if there was just like a little bit more? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what if there was one more, like Star Wars movie or Matrix movie or something
That's
like
the
that?
encore, baby.
Kind
Kind
of.
our next song.
Yeah. But there are
Keep
still people to this day who don't know that we have 3 endings.
Yeah, I ran into a lot of them last weekend at a convention we went to.
But that was
Yeah.
kind of part of the fun too. Is we had like the Everybody Dies ending, and then like this ending, and then the video game ending, and we kind of wanted everybody to hit the forums. We didn't tell anybody we had 3 endings. We wanted to watch that chaos. I'm like,
Yeah, it was awesome
I can't
watching.
everybody died. Well, somebody else goes, "What the fuck are you talking
It was
about?"
awesome watching people make journals on our website saying that was the worst ending ever. Everyone just died for no reason.
I watched this all video game. That's retarded.
And then you would see him cross it out later, and be like, "Never mind, I'm an idiot."
Well, it's like, it's like I said, I saw one post where it said, and it was late. I mean, it was like 2 weeks after the episode came out. It goes, I watched the series for 4.5 years, and just everybody dies in 3 seconds because that's what I watched for. And I'm like, maybe you should watch it again. Maybe you'll see something different. There's a lot more to it than that. So hopefully that guy went back and watched it again. But that's part of the fun of it too. Part of the fun of the internet too is discovering stuff, like finding out little tricks and
I would say nice mongoose there in that shot.
Matt copied that.
No, Nathan.
That was
Nathan.
all Nathan.
You copied that from multiple mongoose.
I
mongoose,
did,
if I
yeah, it
remember
was
right.
two stitched together. It's okay.
But that ending right there that we chose, like we talked about how here we are on a DVD, we had to choose an ending to put on it.
Yes.
And this is what we call the true ending.
It ended right at 2 hours exactly.
Yeah, and we because we feel like the whole thing about video games and the fun of all this is that like everything renews, you know what I mean, and things go on, and there's not really a finality to it. And while the story that started that plot line that we feel started around episode 10, when O'Malley and Tex were introduced, that threaded through all the rest of the 100 episodes that we did. The characters are still there. The map is still there, and that conflict that they're going through is going to be ongoing. And we kind of leave them with that conflict, really how they started before all this hubbub that we got them involved with. So we're really happy with it. Really happy with the 3 endings and everything.
Yes.
Just past the grips and security.
And
2 of the most important positions.
Finch. Poor old Finch.
All of our kids. We had a lot of sex during our
with 4.5 years, man.
Yeah.
4.5 years.
I guess we didn't have that much.
No, it started as what, a 6-episode miniseries we were gonna do. With like a guy who ends up in pink armor was the big joke at the end of it all, and it just kept going. And like I said in the post that we put up for episode 100, if you've liked this, and I'm assuming if you've watched the 5th DVD now of this, that it has brought some measure of joy to your life. That I mean, what we've been given back, in terms of being able to do this stuff and all the fun that we've had has just been, tenfold. I think that the joy that it's given out. So it's been a really great experience. So on behalf of me and everyone else here, I'm sure in the office, we just want to thank you all for 4.5 really great years of silly videos.
Yeah, this thanks list could be in 2 hours in itself.
Yeah. And thanks again to MS and Bungie for making it possible.
I mean, you think back to that. I mean, it's like after 4.5 years, you think like, well, we've always done Red vs. Blue. It's kind of always been there. Maybe some people who have watched it, in episode 50 or whatever. That's kind of like maybe been present. Maybe some younger people too. But I mean, you go back to that first moment when they took a look at it and said, what do we want to do about this? And they took I feel like a big risk on us. And I mean, really, honestly, the most people would do something about it, or do something negative or shut it down or whatever, And we never forgot that, like that very first one moment that made all this stuff possible, where they said, "Yeah, that's kind of cool. What's the what can happen?" They sat down and talked with us, and it was great. And the fact that they've been able to let us work on this for so long has been really an honor. I mean, really, really an honor. And all the people that it's a list of all the people that have helped us over the years. I mean, it's just like an amazing list of like people who have contributed in some way and helped us out.
I saw a name misspelled.
Except for that person.
That person gets less credit. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I think we're almost at the end.
Thanks for
Thank you.
watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the past 4.5 years.
Absolutely, and for more episodes.
more episodes. We'll see you all for future
Yeah.
things at the
We don't want to
website.
we
Buy our
don't
next
want to day
DVD.
jobs just yet, so
Thanks
keep
for the
watching.
beer money.
Yeah, keep watching, please. There will definitely be something else for you to see. We guarantee.